What's up, everyone? We're back day 3. Believe it or not, we are over 10 hours of log time talking about this draft like we run a professional network. Myself, Brown's Mock. How are you, my friend?
I'm ready for day 3, and all you people that are out there, we got hundreds, it looks like, us for day 3. You are my people, man. You are the freaks. You are. If you're still around for, we're not going to be live, but if you're still around watching it with me in round 6 and round 7, then I'm going to ask if you have the other half of this amulet, because we were separated at birth. I love day 3, man. It's so much fun. This is my favorite day of the draft.
It is a ton of fun. 2 things that are out there available for your consumption if you so choose. Steve and I put out a content piece that I really liked last night in a podcast that covered our thoughts on the picks that have been made, the excitement surrounding both Greg Newsome and Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah being available to be picked for both. The Browns to be able to pick both of them in different rounds. And we also touched on what we liked about Anthony Schwartz, what he brings, that we see the value in him at pick 91. And then lastly, we talked about guys today who are of the most interest. So the Browns will be up quickly.
Yes,
picks
twice.
110 and pick 113. And I think that they're going to make as many picks as they have. So, we'll talk about our top targets. We have a list here of our top guys available. This is probably not the most perfect list we could ever put out, but these are names of guys that we are particularly interested in and are names of guys that were on Steve and I's big board, top 50 big board for fits for the Browns that are still floating out there. Like getting Jamar Johnson to me would be such a home run. I don't know how interested they are at safety. Maybe based on what I just studied and wrote about Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, it might not even be deemed as a fit whatsoever. They might think that role is completely satisfied. So pretty pumped about the opportunity with these 10 players that are there. And they could pick somebody off of this list.
Of course.
But for just looking at sheer number of people that are available, it's a pretty exciting setup here. And we're up to almost 200 people in here already. We love you guys. Thanks for joining us. We have Fred Greetham with us. We will have Jared Mueller in just a moment. He is on the road driving. Hopefully not looking at the camera very much. He can just talk every now and again. And then he gets to the wrong point on the highway, he might just drop service altogether. So we'll see how that goes as time goes on. But
we should also point out quickly, Ian pointed this out, Tufele is on the list of guys that came in and had official visits. Okay. I don't know if it was live or if it was, virtual, but he had an official visit. Tufele is guy, and there's a couple other guys that are not on this list a little further down the board that we've talked about extensively. Derek Forrest, the safety from Cincinnati, and Darren Hall, the corner/safety from San Diego State, both also had visits. I think multiple with Darren Hall, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right. So, last thing I want to mention before we start talking about picks that are made or whatever is that we have a 50% promotion going on. It's a 50% off an annual subscription. So please get over to the OBR and check out that annual subscription offer where you get 50% off your your subscription, where you can join in on all the film room content, all the inside information from Lane and others. You get Jared's league-wide perspective. He does a great job of tying in how the Browns compare to either previous versions or where they're at across the NFL. You get Fred's fantastic beat writing live from Berea with the Berea Report and Greetham Angle. You get the mock draft experience all year. He's just done an unbelievable job covering the draft this year. Has put us at the top of the list in terms of coverage of this thing for anybody in this Cleveland market. So we're pretty pumped about it. You should take advantage of that offer. Is until May 3rd, and quite a bit comes with it. We're pumped about that offer, and hopefully you get on it if you have enjoyed this content. And most of you who are with us are probably, OBR subs. Anyway, we call you the degenerates if you're here on day 3. You were with us for the names that you may not know, and we're going to talk about them. So I'm going to bring in Jared, who's on the road. Don't you dare look at this, Jared. We see you. You're fine. We'll talk as you drive. What did you guys – I'm going to start with you, Fred. What has been your favorite part of the first 2 rounds of this draft? I should say 3 rounds. 2 days, 3 rounds.
Well, it's really been the speed. You can see that's the theme, and Andrew Berry talked about it last night, is that, they, especially saw in Kansas City, and we all saw that they were having trouble, keeping up with some of these faster teams. And you get a world-class sprinter and a wide receiver, and you get speed at, I think 4-3 cornerback, 4-4 linebacker, and JOK. And I think that they've added in the offseason on the defense speed. And that's the number one thing. And that bodes well. This roster really is almost stacking up to no other team in the league as far as what they've added.
I very much agree. Very much agree. Steve, same question to you, and then we'll go to Jared last.
I think just the value. I mean, they did it, as we've seen now for 2 days, we have the evidence. Andrew Berry did something in his presser earlier this week that was probably the sneakiest, most underhanded thing that a GM can do. He told the truth. Nobody expects that. He went out, they let it come to them. They got value, they got athleticism, and now they're going to start promoting the competition that he talked about. This is nothing that he didn't say that he was going to do. They have a plan, they have a vision, they have a price for each player, each round, and they do not deviate. I love that. That's been my favorite thing. They have gotten 3 guys that we all think they wanted, and they got them at the right values. I mean, how can that not be? You may have preferred other people a little bit at each pick or something like that, but if you're angry at this draft class, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, they've done so many great things in the first 2 days.
Jared, what do you got, buddy?
For me, it's really this logical process that allows us to get emotionally kind of cool. We saw in free agency, they loaded up on the defensive line, a lot of one-year contracts, the possibility of Sheldon Richardson coming back, but that all set up for them to go and get kind of faster guys with Newsome, with JOK, but that there's just logic behind it that they do, including I'm really intrigued to see kind of who they missed out on, moving down from 89 down to 113. Is there how many players that they would have drafted at 89 went kind of in that kind of range that they gave up to go up and get JOK, which many people are calling, a steal of the draft, all those kind of things. So just that logic, and then even the reaction from our team on day one, it was, all right, good, yes, that's a really good pick. Really feel like that's solid, and then to get to be excited and kind of pumped up for that JOK. So it all makes a lot of sense. It's not the meat and potatoes per se of the linemen, but it's logical but exciting, and that's a combination that we can do for the rest of Andrew Berry's time in the NFL, which should be in Cleveland for the next 40 years.
Yeah, I know. Good point, Jared. That's very well said. I think, Steve, I know what you're going to say. Jay Tufele's gone, which stinks. I wouldn't be surprised if the Browns called and tried to pry that away, and Jacksonville's like, we're just not giving it up, man. Because they like him, and you sit around and stew about your board overnight, then you're gonna look at that player and it's hard to pass on.
Luckily he's not, and we said this at the end of the broadcast last night. There's like 5 interior defensive linemen left that we think would be good value at one of these next 3 picks. So as much as I thought Tufele was being slept on and undervalued, mostly because he opted out, and losing him kind of sucks. There's other guys right here: Tommy Togiai, Bobby Brown, a couple others off the top of my head. I'm not coming up with them at the moment, but there's enough IDL guys that if that's their target, there's going to be someone of value coming up here in 3-4 picks, however many are left before us.
I wanted to address kind of like, in my opinion, I guess I won't say, I'll go to you guys. Are there any positions you feel like they need to come out of the draft today with, Steve, particularly? I mean, they have 2 very important picks here, but then they go 132, 169. So they have 4 picks. Is there any certain position at all, maybe 1 or 2, that you think they need to have today?
I think it probably depends on your definition of need. I think we all think it would be nice, and I know Fred will agree with me, if they could bring in somebody on the interior defensive line, but they don't absolutely have to. And the same thing for one more corner or safety. I think they need at least one more coverage piece in the secondary. But again, if they, for whatever reason, see value in maybe interior offensive line, or they shock us all and double up on wide receiver or something like that, it's not the end of the world. So Yeah, there are a couple. Those would be the two spots that I think they probably should hit, but I don't know about need. I don't know if I can get all the way to that.
Yeah, got it. What do you think, Fred? Any particulars there?
Well, yeah, at this point, I think it's more depth. I truly believe that if they even don't add interior defensive linemen, they can probably get somebody that in free agency that's just sitting at home. There's not, there's plug guys in, like the Sheldon Richardsons. There's not a lot of them, but there's 3, 4, 5 of those guys. Like we say, they have Billings, Elliott, and Jackson to line up there with Clowney. So that's, to me, the weakest. With the cornerbacks now adding Newsome, you've created depth, there. So I really think, you can get guys. Most point, they're going to be special teams type players. You can't say you were taking a guy in the 4th or 5th round, you were counting on him to be, this is the guy we needed to. These guys are coming in to compete, and you might get a surprise, but they're looking for depth and just to compete at those positions. So, no, I don't think they need anything. They can just get the best guy on the board, and they'll fill in like they did last year. The Malcolm Smith, you signed him in training camp, and he was your second leading tackler. So, those type of guys, there's several of those veterans out there, and they'll be able to, I think, plug them in.
Yeah, I'm curious some of your guys' thoughts too on, is there a position that of these two we're not really expecting? Maybe a highly graded running back could go here. Could a highly graded tight end go here?
Yep.
Could we see an interior offensive lineman? I think a lot of us think corner, DT, safety is possible, something like that. But I think in these two picks, at least one of these two picks, it could be an unexpected player. Michael Carter, who we just talked about on the pod last night, Steve, is a nice pick for the Jets right there. A nice player who got overshadowed by his teammate, but when you cut on the film, he's got some impressive reps, man. Burst, some patience I really like, some vision that's pretty solid. He's got an NFL starter baseline to him if he can reach his max there. So hopefully that can work out for the Jets. I pull for the Jets. I know we've got some people we've gone on podcasts with them, Steve, who I think the NFL is just better when the Jets are a little bit better. So it's interesting to see if they can get it turned around.
Yeah, and I think what you said earlier too, could we see a surprise pick? It goes back to what we've been saying all along. They're not going to force a position. If they do have a tight end, let's say, people have been talking about Brevin Jordan. If for whatever reason they have Brevin Jordan, graded 75th on their board or something like that, and you get to 113 or maybe 132, they're going to grab him. They're going to grab a running back maybe because, like Fred was saying, and like Andrew said last week, competition at the back, especially at the back end of the roster, is always a good thing. It's never bad to have too many good football players. We said this at the end of the broadcast last night, and I'll repeat it. If you're cutting good football players from your 53 at the end of August, that is a good problem. That's rich people problems. Falcons sniped Darren Hall from us. Last year they took Michael Carter from me. Now they just took Darren Hall. Damn. Okay. Sorry.
Well, I like Darren Hall. I did not expect Darren Hall to go this quickly. I'm a little surprised. I liked him. We've talked about him. But I
saw some people that had 4th round grades on him, but mostly I saw him in the 5th and the 6th. So, maybe it's a product of this year, a much shallower pool. Maybe these guys, your true grade is a 5th, but because there's less players, you're getting pushed up the board by simple math, something like that. Or maybe they really like him. Maybe they've got a day 2 grade on him. So who knows?
I'm with it. So we're getting close. Carolina's picking next, and then Cleveland goes 2 of the next 4 picks, which is fun. Which we will talk about those, and then we'll see how long we want to hang out. I don't know. We'll see where the wind takes us, but we will have more info up on Anthony Schwartz. I know that Johnny Kinsley's going to work on that young man's tape and get that up for you. We have film rooms up on Greg Newsome. We have a film room up on just a little bit ago, about 11:30 on Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. If you're interested in what those players bring from an intricate standpoint, in different roles, how they fit in this defense, the information's there for you. So check it out. We have 425 people hanging out with us. It's crazy. I love you guys on third
amazing.
day. of the draft. It's an interesting spot here. Now the Browns are picking soon, so we'll see what the.
How many of those 425? I'm curious. Are here for Jared's hair and shirt color? That's what I'm curious about. There's a lot of them. And I know he can't come back at me now because he's driving. So, that makes it even more fun to needle him here.
Yeah. There's nothing he can do about it, folks.
Trade.
Oh, we got a trade. Yeah, see, that's the other thing we haven't talked about with these early day 3 picks. Early day 3 picks are valuable trade capital. I mean, you're not going to get a future first or anything like that. But people, like we talked about last night, these first dozen picks or so are always the leftovers. Guys with day 2 grades that got pushed out and are still available. So there are teams in the 120s, 130s, 140s that really, really want these guys because they had day 2 grades on them. You see this every year. The top half of round 4 is rich trade ground.
It's always funny.
Bell.
What's that?
I said this is Bo Bell territory.
This is Bo Bell
Savage
territory.
trade away everybody in. First pick, most famous 4th rounder. Browns took linebacker Bo Bell. I don't remember ever making a play.
Tennessee traded up. If anybody missed that, they just jumped in front of us. So. Yeah, so that's the other thing. We've been talking for months. They won't make all these picks and everything. This is a spot where you want this pick, this 4th rounder. Okay, give us next year's 3rd rounder. It's possible. I'm not predicting it. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is the range where that kind of stuff becomes more possible. And if somebody comes calling, Andrew Berry will take the value. We know that. He's proven that. All right, so they took Des Fitzpatrick.
Patrick, which is of no interest to us. So.
Nope. So it doesn't hurt us at all. Now we're on the clock.
All
Let's
right,
go,
boys.
baby.
We are live. We get 2 of the next 4 picks. I really like that.
All righty. Everybody start checking with your sources.
Hey, if someone just put in the comments that they're taking Shaun Wade. I mentioned him last night, man. I would be very into Shaun Wade at this point in the draft.
Yep.
I would be very into what some of the versatility he can bring.
Shaun Wade and the guy at number 5 there on our board, Trill Williams, they're both technically listed as corners still, but both are projected to move to safety or at least play a lot of safety type stuff in the NFL. So they would both be interesting. Very versatile, very athletic type of guys. And yes, last year was not good for Shaun Wade, for those of you out there, but he was on the outside. Go back to his slot film from 2 years ago. It was elite. He was a 1st round projected pick for a reason.
Very much agree. Very much agree. Where was Tennessee before? How far did they move up for Des Fitzpatrick?
It looks like in the comments they moved up. They gave up 135, 205, and 215 to get to 109. So they really wanted him, apparently.
Wow, they did move. That's a big jump.
Or they didn't want to make those late round picks.
Which is also possible.
That's what I like Barry to do, is get rid of 3 or 4 at the end for 1 or 2 of these guys if they want them.
Yep. Also a possibility. Absolutely. Package 211 and 257 with 169 to move up into the 4th again and be done for the day or something like that.
All right, boys, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Some big Des Fitzpatrick believers. Greg Cosell's a big believer in him.
I have not seen anyone tipping anything.
I haven't either.
Talanoa Hufanga is still out there. Hamza Nasruddin is still out there.
There's a ton of players we like, man.
Yep.
Ton of players we like. Some guys we've even mocked into the 2nd round or a trade down in the 2nd round. Definitely guys that if we had moved up in the 3rd, we've seen mocked, some of those things where we get the 3rd round pick if we move out of the 1st round in the 60s or 70s, some of those names. So we've seen a lot of it. I still don't see a pick. I don't know if you guys do.
Brad Stainbrook just said pick is in, so they're not trading it. But I have not seen a name yet.
James Hudson is the pick.
Okay,
Yeah, this is what we were talking about, where they would pick something we did not expect. So that's one we didn't expect. Nothing. Let's analyze it before we go too far with it.
A tackle from Cincinnati. All right.
I think, if I recall, he got booted from the bowl game there with Georgia for a late hit or a hit targeting or something.
Right.
You know, yeah. I talked about this a little bit in the lead up to this thing, which is where they lost Kendall Lamb and they want a young developmental tackle, and I thought that was possible later. Like I had my eye on maybe like a Tommy Doyle, who's a guy who tested extremely well. So Hudson 6'4". Things aren't loading. He's the 10th ranked tackle, though. I mean, it's not like he's crazy off value. Let's see who's from Dane Brugler's list is out in front. Everybody from Dane's list in front of him has been selected.
Yep.
So he is the best available tackle according to Dane.
21 years old, 6'5", 315. You know what? Dane's here. He says he lacks ideal length, so maybe they're thinking they would move him to the inside. Maybe this is one of those guys that projects to.
Light feet, strong hands, natural balance, are an intriguing starter pack at left tackle. He would be best fit in a zone scheme.
There you go.
Where he can develop to be an above-average starter. So that's the play. You got a guy maybe in 2 years, Jack Conklin moves on or whatever. You know, you're looking down the road. They're playing the long game. This pick makes a ton of sense to me. We'll have to study James Hudson's tape, but I think that if you're watching NFL Network, they're putting a little bit up of him now. Good for him. I mean, he's an athlete. He can get out and move. I'm not sure what he tested at. He was a 28.5 vert. Broad jump was 8 feet 2, so not crazy explosive or anything. 5'2", 940. I bet his general RAS number is not all too amazing, but they're looking for traits. They want things Callahan can mold. Let's see if I can find his relative athletic score. Not great, 4.42 relative athletic score. So on the lower spectrum of that, they would consider him okay at most metrics. The shuttle and three cone were of the poor metrics. So he would rank 631 out of 1,129 offensive tackles from 1987 to 2021. So
I wonder if Kent at MathBomb, who does all the RAS stuff, I wonder if he's got him ranked as a guard too, because it just everything I'm seeing, everything that we're reading, everything they say about him and his fit just screams a guy that they think they're going to move inside. Bengals snipe camp sample from us, so it's a good pick for them.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, with the depth already having it, they had to feel he was better than because they could have taken him 2 picks later than one of these defensive linemen or guys that we're talking about. And throwing the Wyatt Teller into the mix, you know, he could be leaving after this year. And like you said, if this guy can play guard, they can now have more competition with Drew Forbes to maybe make a decision if they can let Teller leave.
Yeah, we've been saying that forever. You've got this year, the interior of offensive line is set and among the best in the league, but Teller's in a contract year. We think they're going to do everything in their power to, make it work with him, but he may demand a bag that they can't give him. Plus, JC's in the last year of his contract and he's over 30. So as far as the interior of the offensive line goes, this is one of those, not for this year, this is for next year, or, maybe they just think he's somebody that can be rotational and an end of the 8th offensive lineman or something like that. He can swing back and forth because he's got experience at tackle, one of those guys. I don't know.
Yeah. I think you're right on. I think they're probably looking at the last year of Chris Hubbard, and they know that. They lost another tackle, obviously, Kendall Lamb. So, if you want a guy who can be a swing tackle, a player like Chris Hubbard, is that a similar player? Maybe. We'll have to look at how they kind of test it out. But he's a nasty player. He plays physical brand of football, man, and he moves well enough. I know he didn't grade like crazy, but I think he moves well enough to fit in his own scheme, like Dane pointed out. He could move inside. He could sit still, but, ultimately, I think that they're looking at who can be the next Chris Hubbard for us. A guy that's a player they really value. They value a guy who can step in and start at any of the 4 positions, even maybe snap a football between his legs and play center if the crisis needed to be. So, it is what it is. It looks like the Browns traded with Detroit. I don't know how far that means they're moving down. Maybe they moved into round 3 next year.
No, Detroit was just ahead of them.
No, there's 2 Detroit picks in a row where Cleveland was supposed to pick. So
is there?
There is. So
I see Browns on the clock. You're seeing something that I'm not seeing. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing Browns on the clock here.
Yeah, I'm seeing Detroit bang bang. And I'm not sure. I haven't read anything. Let me see if I can find something. Amon-Ra St. Brown goes to the Lions. I got to admit, they're having a sneaky good draft down there. They've taken a few players. I don't know how well they fit what they need or anything like that. I don't know the Lions roster as well as some other people because I frankly don't care. But they've taken a few guys that we really, really liked. So, that's a good pick for them, I think. Mm-hmm.
This could be where maybe he traded out to get an extra 3rd round next year, something like that. We talked about 2022 being more golden because more money and more chance to evaluate prospects next year. And I will say something on Chris Hubbard. They renegotiated his contract last year. He's very valuable, but he was still the 4th highest paid offensive lineman on the team last year at just under $5 million. And so you got to think, if coming off an ACL, that if they feel this guy can step in and handle that role, then they could save some more money.
Yep, officially, the Browns official account tweeted out trade, so they definitely have traded.
I'm very curious to see what we get as a return in this scenario.
I have nothing here.
Okay, I got it. The Browns get a 5th round, 2022. Let's see.
Got to get more than that.
Browns get, it says it doesn't make sense. 513, 5th round, 2022, 4th round. Lions get 113 and 257. So the Browns gave up their 7th round in that pick, but I'm still not sure what 513 means. I think it's got to be a misprint.
Let's see, 113 and 257 for a 5th this year and a 2022 4th. Exactly. This is exactly the framework of an Andrew Berry deal that we talked about on some of the mocks, the live mocks. Jake, you move down a bit and you give up a little. So basically, they've traded this year's 4th. They traded 113 for wherever Detroit's 5th is, and then they turned this year's 257 into next year's 4th. That's essentially the trade right there. That's great value. That's just tremendous value. We can argue about the different players and everything like that. That's a separate discussion. But strictly from a trade perspective, it's fantastic value. You moved up 2 rounds. Man, that's a great trade.
I was noted from somebody on Twitter here, Zach Hilliard, who says that James Hudson was recruited to Michigan as a guard originally. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of guard connections there.
There it is. Our friend Jack Duffin, who just, I think he would marry a mathematical table if somebody allowed him. He just ran the RAS as a guard, and it's much better. I mean, it's not great. It's still average, but 5.79 as a guard. So that's better. And the Lions took Derek Barnes. He was an athletic day 3 linebacker of some interest to a lot of people.
Yeah. Yep.
So now we are up again in 20 picks, 132? Or did they give that up?
No, they're 132 still.
They still got 132.
They're 132, 169, and then the 169 is a 5th rounder, so they got 2 5th rounders now. And then their last pick will be 211, and then we're on to next year.
I won't be surprised if 211 goes the way 257 did at some point with one of these. It's thrown into a deal to move up to a 5th next year or something like that.
Yep. Let me see if I can find some data on James Hudson. Hang on a second about what Pro Football Focus thought of him.
Yeah, Sorry, guys. I'm. There's only so many hours in the day. He's one of the guys I didn't study, so I don't really have
anybody who says they study James Hudson is not getting paid to make a draft guide. You're a freaking liar. So don't come at me with your opinion on James Hudson until you watch him. I'm gonna even tweet that at some point. Nobody watched James Hudson, so spare me. He graded out at a 75. The last 2 years. It looks like he really only got a nod in 2020 was his first full year starting, and he got a 75 overall grade with a 79.9 pass block grade and a 73.6 run block grade, 6 penalties accumulated on the year, one of which was the ejection variety for a really silly targeting. That's the reason I know his name well is because he targeted in that bowl game with Georgia and got kicked out.
Right.
And they brought in that giant German left tackle, and Ojulari was
just killed him. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm going to jump out, guys, and get working on some of this. And so,
okay, thanks, Fred.
Yep.
All right, Fred. See you, buddy. All right, the two amigos.
Or is that too old of a reference for you? Good grief. Yeah, sorry. Like Jake said on night one, this is a hustle for most of us. This isn't, I have a job. So this is, I can't study all 700 guys like Kuiper can or Dane can or something like that. So this one's outside of my area. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we'll do. I mean, this is the situation, and I just tweeted it too because I'm seeing people like knock him like they know he's a bad player or something. We don't know what type of player James Hudson is right now. I got to watch the tape. You read Dane, you read some notes. You definitely got to sit down and listen to what the scouts say. And if you did not listen to all of the scouting interviews yesterday, which I'll go through, not just scouting, but you have Andrew Barry's talking, Paul DePodesta was talking. I thought that one of the better interviews given, let me see here, was by Akwesi, Adolfo-Mensah, who the vice president of football operations, he's going places. He won't be in Cleveland long enough. Very smart, articulate dude who conveys points really well, not in any way egocentrical. You can see all of that stuff. So, we'll listen to what they say, and then we'll go from there. I'll study the tape, see what they're talking about, see if he's an inside fit, and we'll see what they think. You got to remember, these guys are considering down the road, and that's what they're going to do. They still have an opportunity at 132 to go get an interior player if they want one to develop. Mm-hmm. They have an opportunity at 169 to go get a football player in the secondary. You can get a corner late. There's going to be – I wouldn't even be surprised if Sean Wade's still floating there at 169. It wouldn't be crazy to me, the way that people have just gone wonky with his value. So, listen, I'm ultimately fine with it.
Our friend David Whitman just sent us this. Matt Miller tweeted out, Browns continue to clean up. James Hudson was ranked 55 on my board. So I know there are varying opinions on Matt Miller out there. I am merely passing along the information. So we'll see.
I'm with it. That's what you got to look at.
All right, here we go. Here's another one. PFF draft. James Hudson at Cincinnati. Pass blocking snaps, 358. QB pressures allowed, 6. Sacks allowed, 0. So maybe these guys are smarter than us. I mean, we'll see. It seems like there's a small chance that all these guys that graduated from Harvard and Caltech are smarter than us.
Probably.
I mean, if you're going to choose those guys or me on the couch with a bag of potato chips, I mean, even I would put my money on them. So
I just got a lead on maybe some Cincinnati tape here because I would like to watch him. Because I'm a loser. I have nothing better to do with my life than to watch prospects. The Browns draft.
I feel like we've missed a couple picks. I'm going to go catch up on who's
do that. I mean, if this gets to
Drew
the point
Dahlman gone. That was one of my interior guys. He was gone, and the Cowboys just take Jabril Cox. For those of you out there wondering,
Micah Parsons and Jabril Cox. That's
if they would break the guardrail for Jabril Cox, well, apparently they're not going to get the chance because he's gone, and now Ellerson Smith gone to the New York Giants. So the Rams are on a clock at 117. It moves much faster here on day 3. So it's
we'll have stuff to talk about, man.
20 picks until they're up again, but 15 now. But that's going to go much quicker than it has the last few nights.
Agreed. All right, let me check this database. Hey, listen, we have 600 people. If this gets down to like 100 folks and not many people are interested in listening to us just babble back and forth, we'll go away. But we'll hang out here as long as Steve's willing and I'm willing and I can hang out. Let me see. What are we drinking today?
This is just a Virgil's vanilla cream soda. Nothing exciting. It's
Nice.
It's 9:30 in the morning out here, so it's even when I was 22, I would do morning breakfast beers. I can't do that crap anymore. Yeah, it's just I'll be asleep. I'll be doing that old guy nap in the chair at noon.
I looks like I have the Georgia game, the Peach Bowl, and then I have Cincinnati's offense against. Is this Arizona State? Did they play Arizona State this year? Who the hell are they playing here? You know what we should do is I could just share this and we could all watch it together. I mean, we're sitting here doing nothing. I'll just keep it up. You can talk through the picks. Let's do some live scouting, folks.
All right, yeah.
What do you say?
Why don't you do that?
Let's do it. You guys into that? In the comments, I'll throw up some Hudson tape of a recent, an all-22 game we have here. Might be turning the corner on the scheme. We could just throw up all 22 and talk about the player when he's picked. Man, we're just.
Did I just see somebody in the I don't have on my view, folks. I can't see the number of viewers, and only Jake can see that. Did I just see somebody in the comments say there's over 600 people right now?
There's 600 people right now. Yeah, right around it. 570.
You guys are awesome, man. This is fantastic.
All right, I'm going to full screen this thing, and we're just going to play some of his tape. He's obviously here at left tackle. I'm just going to talk you through things that I see, and we'll keep throwing the picks up. Good little kick step there inside.
Oh, there goes Bobby Brown.
A lot of guys we like are going to go real quick here. So, again, he's your left tackle here. Some good agility. I'll try to fast forward through some of these so we're not staring at things we don't want to stare. 55 here, a little zone reach right there. Ooh! Did you see that?
Run that again.
Finish. Let's go the end zone view, folks. He's your left tackle right here.
That's nice.
I like that finish, man.
To be fair,
I don't to be fair anything. Well, that pitch by Desmond Ridder is not going to help, but that's a nice buried. That's a nice play. That's a nice finish. I like it. We're just watching live tape of the draft prospects here. We'll get the Georgia game up at some point too.
Hoping that was a Letterkenny reference over there. To be fair, because you're my people. To be fair,
is Letterkenny good? I've watched a couple episodes and I'm like,
so funny.
Okay, I'll give it another run.
Oh,
I know it's choppy. We're dealing with like 4 different internet things here. I'm sorry. We're not ESPN. We don't have a great internet setup and a big truck and all that stuff. I'm sorry. The best we can is we could be talking about nothing right now, but we at least can watch some tape while these picks are made and talk through some picks. He does have good feet so far. I have enjoyed how he moves. I think he gets out of his stance really well. So far I'm fine with what I've seen. Uh-huh.
Do that.
Again, he's at the bottom of your screen here, the left tackle. Good kick step. I like that. A little better end zone view here. Left tackle.
People are saying maybe slow it down, run it at half speed. Maybe that'll help.
How do I even do that? What are you guys talking about? I never know what you're doing back there. Playback speed right now is normal. You said half speed?
That's what people are saying in the comments. I have no idea.
I guess you guys know more about these things than I do. Now it seems really slow.
And
okay, what about
choppy.
like 0.75? Is it still choppy? I don't know. Trying my best. We're small budget. We don't have a budget. Yes, that's correct. The budget is my money in my bank account.
Budget gourmet, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Any recent picks of note?
Bobby Brown to the Rams at 117 is still the last one that I see. Chargers are on the clock.
Okay.
TV is behind. TV is 2 picks behind. They're just now getting ready to announce Jabril Cox.
And if you were tuning in just now, we were watching James Hudson tape, left tackle here, number 55, playing it at 0.75 speed so that it reduces the choppiness. So the players are not slow. It is just reducing the choppiness, folks. I think they are playing Army here. Take that for what it's worth. I will throw on the Georgia tape here momentarily so we can all watch together. I've been somewhat impressed so far. I think he moves pretty well. I think his hands are pretty low at impact. I would like his hands to be a bit more active at the point of attack. But he seems to have people who talk about him as a finisher. I've seen some clips so far too that I really like him finishing blocks. Hand down in the dirt here. Outside zone scheme doesn't really take off.
Well, the other thing for people to remember here is you're talking about a 4th-round pick. So if you're looking at him and you're in your mind comparing him to the guys that went in the top 20, that's not what you're going to get. You're not going to. I mean, maybe once in a while you get lucky and you find an absolute stud, star top of the league guy on day 3. But generally, these are like we've been talking about. Your rotational guys, your backup guys, your 8th offensive lineman type guys, something like that. And if you can find that on day 3. And then maybe he develops into a competent starter for a couple of years, so you can space out some of the bigger contracts if you want to spend a lot of money on the offensive line in some other spots. Then that's great. That's all you're really looking for with this.
Well, I like this punch here.
Chargers take our friend Jeff, one of our friend Jeff Lloyd's day 3 guys, Chris Rumpf from Duke. Goes to the Chargers at 118.
What the issue with Johnson is. It's an interesting. Jamar Johnson's went way farther than everybody thought.
But like we said last night, I really thought this was more his range because he does have holes in his game. There's a lot to like about him, but everybody says he's got to fix the tackling. He's got his coverage is fantastic. So, when you're talking about somebody with that kind of hole. I'm comfortable with the value late day 2, early day 3. You start getting to 59 and picks in that range. That's where, he kind of edges out for me. The value doesn't match.
All right, so we're going to take our scouting notes on our official Cleveland Browns notepad. You like that? You like that?
Snazzy.
It's the little things in life. They were like $1.50 on eBay. I had to get them. He just got clocked on that one. Working down the line. I tripped. That was somebody else, actually. I'm trying to write down a couple timestamps of things that I've liked from him. But probably missed it. I like Jermaine Sherwood, but he ran he ran like the 4.74 or something. It was
Who's that?
Really bad. Sherwood.
Yeah.
That's borderline unplayable at the NFL level in a secondary. Borderline. He it's close.
There. Wow. There's our guy Kenny Wong that we thought maybe would be a 7th-round type guy, and
he's a little older too. Who took him?
Vikings take him at 119. Boy, is he fast though. His burst. Talk about it. We've been talking about Anthony Schwartz, how quickly he gets up to top speed. Wong and I apologize if I'm butchering the young man's name.
No, you're right.
One step, man. It's like one step, and he is full gallop. It's kind of fun to watch. It's really amazing at spots. But yeah, at this spot, he might have been interesting, later on day 3. But at this spot, I don't think he was on the Browns' radar.
I don't think so either. We're getting there. I mean, we're going to be at pick 132 before we know it, guys. So about 558 of you still hanging out with us.
Hoodies on the clock.
We'll eventually put up our best available again when we can. It just moves so quickly we can't keep up with the graphic today. We'll put it up and talk about guys that are maybe just still on there in general.
Excuse me.
Some guys will have been selected, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, where I'm trying to find because when we put together the top 50, there it is, the top 50 big board. At the start of the day, there were still 10 guys. And this was not, I want to reiterate, this was not our top 50 prospects in the entire draft. This was top 50 prospects at of positions we thought that they were going to target who fit the guardrails. So the fact that our top 50 is still available at 120 doesn't mean we were off by 70 spots. These are Browns specific, but there's still a few guys out there. Let me scroll through here and see if I can find which ones they were. I saw like 10 of them this morning. Well, Cam Sample was one of them. He's now gone. Jalen Darden is still out there. Bobby Brown just went. Tommy Togiai is still out there. Jamar Johnson's still out there. Hamza Nasruddin is still out there. Cameron McGrone. You want to talk about a guy that's super young, super athletic, and would be a fun draft and stash type guy, especially in this range. Cameron McGrone is that guy.
Will Herbert still being on the board is interesting.
Yes, he is. He's very interesting. David Moore and Trey Smith are the other guys that are still there.
Here's a look at your top 10 guys that have been selected. I don't think any of those guys have been selected. Right?
Talanoa Hufanga is still available.
Yeah, I think he did. I think Ian did a good job of updating this with.
Oh, is it up now? I'm sorry. I'm looking at our article. Yeah. Oh yeah.
All of those players, I'd be more than fine with any of those guys, man.
Yep.
Especially Thomas Graham.
Trill Williams. Trill Williams has been one of my day 3 guys for a long time. He is so freakishly athletic. If you want, I mean, they're both, like I said earlier at the top of the broadcast, Trill Williams and Shaun Wade, they still have cornerback next to their name, but a lot of people have said that they're far more going to be doing a lot of safety responsibility and maybe move full time there. Safety / slot type stuff, more on the safety side than the slot type side for those two guys at the NFL level. And that would be fantastic for both of them, I think.
Agreed. Very much agreed. We're not far off. You said the Vikings. Did you say Hoodie is picked yet or not? It looks like Jacksonville just traded behind New England, too, I saw.
Yes, New England took Stevenson, the running back out of Oklahoma, who had a lot of fans.
Yeah, he did. Well, they got Sony Michelle. They got a ton of running backs up there now. And Harris, what's his name?
And they'll all have specific roles. They'll all do what they do well, and they won't do the parts they don't do well. He is so good at that. Here, they're putting. If you're watching TV, if you have it on mute up there, they've got Nwangwu up showing highlights and stuff like that. When he sees the hole, watch the burst. Hopefully, they show the right ones. Yeah. There, that one right there. That angle, it's kind of hard to see, but boy, howdy, did he burst on that run right there.
Yeah, he can move. He's especially nice kick returner. So that's an element to his game. VP of Player Personnel Glenn Cook said the decision makers went to bed last night for the Browns, hoping James Hudson would be available to them in the 4th round. Cook said the coaches view Hudson as a tackle with a cross-train him at right guard. So not right guard, but just guard in general. So, yeah, this is the ideal Chris Hubbard replacement pick to me. It just makes a ton of sense for them because you need that. You need that on your offensive line. It's a valuable part of what they're trying to do. So if you look at their long-term potential backups along the offensive line, and I say long-term over the next 3 or 4 years, you're looking at like Drew Forbes, if Forbes comes back and keeps progressing the way we hope he does, Nick Harris and James Hudson. So,
And maybe they still have Michael Dunn. They still have some guy named Blake. They still have
I liked Michael
Alex
Dunn.
Taylor as far as a tackle. They really liked him, the kid out of South Carolina State last year. Yeah. So and I just a completely different topic change, just very quick. He's not even on here, but we don't think they're going to double up at wide receiver. But ISM is still out there. Speaking of kick returners, that's what reminded me. I love Amir Smith-Marset, especially at this value.
I agree. I'm more into the idea, and I need to see Hudson more of his tape, but I'm more into the thought process behind it. This is why immediate gut reaction stuff is tough. It's like, who is that? Why would they? Well, here's what they're doing. They're trying to keep a cheap rookie contract swing tackle with guard flexibility into the future. You guys all saw. Now I know, and some of this should be discussed. Like last year, the injury issues or missing games were so amplified because COVID took people out of games. That part of things it doesn't miss me. But you can just never have enough quality depth along your offensive line. And talk about quality depth at corner, Give me offensive linemen that can play multiple positions and be sound backups. I like Michael Dunn. I thought Michael Dunn came in and played. Did he play? Michael Dunn play the wild card game? Yeah, he did for Joel. He was phenomenal. I thought he was phenomenal in replacement of Joel Bitonio. And then he got hurt, and Blake Hance is not nearly as good as Michael Dunn. So Michael Dunn, in my opinion, will be a serious roster spot competitor. I thought I was really impressed with him last year in that wild card game. Blake Hance doesn't move as well. He's not as good an athlete, but he'll fight and scrap too. And it seems like Callahan has the ability to turn some of these fringe players into guys that can contribute. So that's something to keep in mind as they make those big decisions on Wyatt Teller and some of the veteran guys who could be making a little more money than what their age value is. Could potentially, unfortunately, don't want to hear it, but it could potentially be like a J.C. Treader decision coming before we want to have it. But just things to keep in mind. They want to keep flexibility on the offensive line, so it makes some sense to me. We're back up over 600 folks in here, which is great.
Couple of picks have gone while we've been talking. Jacksonville traded up, and they took Jordan Smith, the edge out of UAB, and the Bengals just took giant run plugger in the middle of the defensive line, Tyler Shelvin, at 122.
The Bengals have turned it around after their Jackson Carman selection, which I still think it might ultimately be the selection that defines their draft a little bit. I mean, Jamar Chase is going to be good no matter what, in my opinion. I just thought that Jamar Chase or the Jackson Carman pick and moving down away from some linemen I thought they could have selected. But they made some nice picks. They got Joseph Asai. We talked about Cam Sample just a little bit earlier, and they needed to bolster their pass rush because they let what's his name? Top of my head, Carlos Dunlap left, and then
Atkins.
Well, no, their other edge that just signed with New York, right?
Carl.
I'm drawing a blank. Carl Lawson. Carl Lawson left.
Yes.
Yeah. Geez, we're two guys who know football, right? And they signed Trey. Yeah, we did. We did. And Trey Hendrickson they brought in to replace, who I'm just not sold on him being a number one edge rusher who can eat up a lot of the responsibility that comes with that. So they've done a nice job picking some young players. You guys in the comments are always on point with helping us out when we go stupid and forget some things. So we appreciate that. 10 picks away. If all 10 of those guys are on the board, I know I just had a sneaky hunch that a player on our board wasn't going to be a player they picked at 110. We'll see if they're interested in anybody on our board at pick 132. I felt like we really predicted the first two. Our boy Jeff Lloyd got the third pick. Shout out to him for the Anthony Schwartz love and bold prediction and all of that. And we didn't expect James Hudson, but I see the logic now. I definitely see the logic and the thought process behind it. So I'm into it. So we're 54 minutes in, 53 minutes in. We're getting there. We'll see how long we hang out. I'll be around. I know Steve will be around. We'll just hang out and talk through this thing. And maybe after pick 169, we'll say see you later. But now we're here and you're here.
You were talking about James Hudson and you see the logic in it and everything. I think that's the thing to remember. We all have our guys we want, and this list, and it's certainly not an exclusive list, but these are the guys that I think a lot of us, at least somewhat would be okay with. But if they grab somebody like Hudson that we had no idea, they're not doing things willy-nilly. I mean, every single thing they do is calculated and with a purpose and part of the end value. So while like you said, our initial gut reaction might be, I don't like that pick. They do it with a reason. So there's always a plan in place, even if we don't see it. It's like, okay, I call it thinking in chords. If you put your fingers on all strings, the 6 strings, and pluck each string individually. Some of them are going to sound fine by themselves. Others you're going to go, ooh, that sounds weird, or oh, that sounds awful. But then when you strum it all together, there's a reason for it that they each individual note. So you got to try to think in chords like that. There is a reason. There's a specific purpose behind them picking James Hudson. Whether we agree with it or understand it or not, they do, and they have thought it through from 20 different angles. So like you keep saying, Jake, they have earned the right to have us trust them until they give us a reason not to. And to this point, they have not done that.
I dig it. You're spot on, as usual. James Hudson said, Joe Thomas, I look up to him. I went to YouTube and searched Joe Thomas to learn some stuff. and see what he did. Joe Thomas is the type of guy I looked up to and still look up to. He knows how
there
to run
goes
the media.
another one of Hawaii Mike's guys. Zach McPherson goes to the
he's a good player.
The Eagles.
That's a good pick for the Eagles.
We are now 8 picks away. The Washington football team is on the clock. Yeah, he is. He's a super good player. I think he's already 23, if not turning.
Yeah.
So
he's 23. He's already 23. He's approaching 24. I think he redshirted at Penn State, then went to Penn State for 2 years. Didn't see a starting time or anything, and then went to Texas Tech for 2 more full years. So
right.
I do think he's 23 and change. He'll turn 24 in the midst of this rookie season here. But,
right.
you know, a good player. Good if he's a one-contract player and you get 4 good years out of him, then, yeah. Alex before here says, Chiefs fan here. Browns have my favorite draft so far. Thanks, man. You like what the Chiefs have done to retool that offensive line. That's for sure. Well, we don't like it because we got to try to find a way to beat you bastards. But, you know, that's they've done a nice job there. Question here. Curious to your thoughts on Cam McGrone. I know, Steve, you love him. You've been preaching about Cam McGrone for a long time. I don't know if they take another linebacker, but
right.
You know, ultimately a good player.
Well, the thing about him is he's coming off the ACL, which is probably the only reason that he's still on the board because he's super young. He's only 20 years old. He's crazy athletic, far more athlete than football player at this point. But at 20 years old, as we've been preaching since day one, that's okay. If somebody's 23 and they're still raw and undisciplined and all that kind of stuff, that's a different story. He's 20 years old. And because of the ACL, he might be a candidate to try and draft and stash so that next year we have that ultra athletic Mike in the system that everybody wants so desperately. They may or may not think the same way. They may or may not see him the same way. But those are my reasons for thinking, especially at this range, I would have no problem doing something like that. John Bates, old tight end prospect from Boise State. Goes to Washington. So another guy that we didn't really have any interest in.
Mick, we're a little surprised on this end too about no DT so far, but there's going to be some really good options. If you look at the names like Tommy Togiai and some others, Tui Pelotu at the very bottom of our 10 target list, there are going to be guys there. I think one of those 2 defensive tackles will be there if they want to go that route. But again, I've talked about this. They clearly like Andrew Billings. They were crushed when he couldn't play, decided not to play last year. They obviously like Malik Jackson. They went out and invested in him. They clearly like Jordan Elliott. You know, he's another big piece of what they want to do here. I need to see him play better, but they like him. And then it turns into, Jadeveon Clowney's a guy who could, in my opinion, give you 15 to 20 snaps on the interior too. Not just as like a situational pass rusher, but a guy who can play the run pretty damn effectively in there as well. And somebody in the comments mentioned Marvin Wilson. We've been talking about Marvin Wilson for a long time. The guy disappointed this last year, underwhelmed, didn't test well either. But, if you go back and people were buzzing about Marvin Wilson as a top 15 pick in the draft before the 2019 season 2020 season. So
if you're looking at interior of the defense, some of the best available guys, highest graded, however you want to phrase it, Tommy Togiai still out there. You just mentioned Marvin Wilson, Davian Nixon, who was getting early day 2, potentially day 1 run. I think I heard he had some off-field stuff, but I can't confirm that. Marlon Tuipulotu out of USC, the other USC guy. We really like him a lot.
He was a part of the Nixon and Tuipulotu are guys that, and Togiai are guys that we previewed at the position. Some guys we left off that have been taken. We previewed those guys at our YouTube video we did at this. So they're all guys of interest.
Here's a guy, Darius Stills out of West Virginia. They met with him. They brought him to Cleveland and physically met with him. I like Mustafa Johnson a little further down the board, Taquan Graham. And then you've got the guys, Jonathan Marshall has gotten a lot of run in Brown's Twitter, as has Kiris Tonga out of BYU. They are both way over the age guardrail. Kiris Tonga is almost 25. However, as you get later into day 3, and if they, as Jack Duffin pointed out earlier, the age guardrail apparently does not matter for UDFAs. If either of those guys slip into UDFA material, I would not be surprised that they bring in somebody like that into camp.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Any other picks that have been made? The Vikings.
Last one I saw. Where are we? Vikings took Cameron Bynum. Pretty good corner out of Cal. So the Panthers are on the clock right now.
I like Jonathan Marshall a good bit. Talked about him. He's another age guy.
Right.
Another age guy for sure. But like him, tested off the charts. I think he tested like a 9.9 RAS, like crazy testing. Who I would be totally fine with if they wanted to even wait. So, you know, a lot of people in the comments think they're going to bring back Sheldon Richardson. I think that's a long shot pipe dream. I don't think that they're going to make that. I just don't see that happening. Maybe the conversation is Sheldon. He's like, I'm going to make more money somewhere else. He doesn't get that offer, and he reluctantly comes back to Cleveland. It's like, well, this team they just dumped me. You know, I just don't see that happening. If it happens, cool. I just don't think that's an odds-on favorite thing to happen. So I think
I think he's going to have too much market for his market would have to be super, super dry. I think for that to happen, and I just don't think it is because he's still a quality player.
Who do I need to contact about getting that giant Browns helmet there on the road to my basement?
Ask Barry. See if it's in the budget. Chuba Hubbard goes to Oklahoma State. Goes to the Panthers out of Oklahoma State.
It's interesting. Super productive college running back.
Mm-hmm.
One of the cooler names out there. Chuba.
I know he had some day 3 fans if they were going to look for a younger running back to add to the room, which they certainly don't have to do at all if they don't want to. Yeah. But he had some fans in that realm.
So we go Indy, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Rams, and then who's Baltimore going to snipe in front of Cleveland at pick 131?
Maybe they'll pass. If somebody's over there, go lock their war room door.
Cut the cord on the phones. Or cut the cell service, do something, whatever you have to do. Tylan Wallace is Tylan Wallace out there? He didn't get drafted yet.
I think he's still out there, yeah. Somebody order a bunch of pizzas and send them to the Ravens war room.
Yeah.
So they have
keep them out of this thing, man. Well, I'm quite curious what Pittsburgh does. I think they have to lean offensive line at this juncture. They've not taken enough offensive linemen.
You would think if they have one graded at value that would be the easy thing for them to do. But I mean, it's glaring right in front of them.
Yeah, I agree. Should be simple.
Although they grabbed, was it Pittsburgh that sniped Kendrick Green from us last night?
They did end up taking Kendrick Green, which was a good pick. But their tackle situation is a disaster. I wonder if they had eyes on Hudson.
I hope so. I hope we pissed them off.
Yeah, me too.
I'm petty.
They've done enough pissing Cleveland off for long enough.
Oh boy, have they? Speaking of them, something we talked about on the pod, just to kill some time here, we can talk about it again. Speaking of them pissing us off, how angry were Browns fans for how many years at Troy Polamalu? It lined up everywhere, came from everywhere. One snap he was right on the line of scrimmage between the guard and the center. The next snap he was playing deep middle, and just flew all over the place. You and I were talking about it last night, and not a player comp because I don't like those, and B, I think giving a draft pick a comp to a legit gold jacket guy is wildly unfair. But a comp in style of use and how they could potentially use a guy like JOK, I think that is pretty I would be excited if they let him, freelance isn't the right word, but, sort of go off book a little bit like that and use his natural anticipation and skills like that in a manner similar to what they did to us with Polamalu for all those years.
Agreed, man. The film cut up of him is just so fun, just so fun. Good play. The thing that amazes me is how well he runs in coverage. Like the way he can fluidly run. Like if you want to watch and sit down and just have fun watching what you think he can be, go watch him cover Amari Rodgers in the Clemson game. He gave Amari Rodgers hell from the slot in the Clemson game, like stride for stride with that dude. That was like a sitting there going, whoa, that was ridiculous, man. So I laid it all out as best I can. I think he's got a chance to really be special, really be special. And put some weaknesses in there too. We talked about the missed tackles. That's in there. talked about how he plays too forward. I think he doesn't consistently break down at the POA. He wants to put his body weight through you. Like he wants to run through you. So in return, sometimes that run through you run into guys who can put a foot in the ground and make you look silly. And occasionally it happens to him.
And I think you made an interesting point. We were talking about it, I think on the last mock draft on live mock draft on Wednesday before the draft started, that the missed tackle rate, it's definitely something to be concerned about when we're not trying to downplay it, but not all missed tackles are the same. And you made the point that a lot of what you saw on tape was he was situationally aware. Like if he did what you said and he blasted downhill and he was 5 yards in the backfield and he knew he had help behind him, that's the times where he goes for the big highlight reel hit and drops his shoulder and tries to run through you. Whereas if he's out in space and he knows, man, if I miss this tackle, this guy's going 70 yards, then he gets much more technical. Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah, no, absolutely. I think when he darts through and he's running at full speed at you is when he most often is missing tackles. He gets a lot of guys down that way. Don't get it wrong, and he buries people. But when he does miss tackles, it is that result. They're not terrible missed tackles because he's completely changing the direction of a running back or the course of a receiver, and that ends up stopping the player ultimately. So yeah, it goes down in the metric as a missed tackle, but it doesn't really end up being anything that's a problem. Like it's a stop. So you got to be careful when just saying this guy misses a ton of tackles. Well, did the missed tackle end up eventually serving its purpose? Because that can really be a thing. It's the same with drops, and people analyze drops all the same. Well, was the ball 3 feet behind him? Did he have to completely stop his momentum to try to go back and reach across his body? That's not the same as dropping a ball in stride. So those things you have to be. Everybody just makes like general statements that they want to be like a comprehensive analysis of the player. You got to look at it individually and see what the problem is on individual plays. There was only really one I cut up against Florida State where he's in curl flat, ball goes into the flat, and he doesn't sink his hips well enough, and he gets beat on a one plant back inside. That was really one of the few I could see that didn't involve him pressing into the backfield and trying to make a play in the backfield where he just kind of missed and slowed a guy down or broke his stride or made him change or alter his course or miss a running lane. That's different. So I'm not concerned about the tackle metrics for him. I think he is a good tackle. And if you listen to him, Steve, his quote was, "What's your favorite part of the game? I love to tackle. That's where money's made. I like to hit people. Ultimately, that's what gets offenses off the field and gets us off the field defensively is bringing people to the ground." So that's what I like about him. Talk about some picks. I've been yapping here. If you got real quick before we keep talking, because I think this is a rich area to talk about here. The Colts took tight end Kylan Granson out of SMU. The Steelers took, speaking of tackles, Dan Moore Jr., a tackle out of Texas A&M, which is a guy you and I talked about. Underrated, I think, an athletic, developable guy. So that I think that's a good pick for them, especially at this point. And then it looked like Tampa traded up and they took Jalen Darden, who was a guy that Lane told us the Browns were super interested in at the right value. So maybe they were getting in front of us for him, or maybe they were getting in front of the Rams or something like that. But they traded up for him. So, but yeah, I think maybe Baltimore too. I don't know. Maybe Baltimore. What you were talking about with JOK, if let's say a guy's, he's 5 yards in the backfield because he saw something and anticipated, and he saw the swing pass coming or whatever it is, and he drops his shoulder and he tries to run through the guy and it doesn't work. And he's going to have to learn it works even less at the NFL level because, everybody on the other side of the ball is a grown-ass man bigger, faster, stronger, man. But if he hit, let's say, he hits the running back on the swing pass 5 yards into the backfield and misses the tackle, he still slowed him down so that the pursuit is going to get there. So if he misses a tackle 5 yards deep and then somebody else cleans it up behind him and it's a 2 yard loss, yeah, technically that's a missed tackle. And obviously a 5 yard loss would have been better, but it's still, he blew up the play. It's like disruption is production. You've said that numerous times. So, stats are important, and people say, "Oh, PFF's blah blah blah." No, they're very important, and they do great work. But there is nuance and context to everything. Even PFF guys themselves say a grade is not the Bible. That you have to find why, so it can shift. It's not going to shift a guy 3 rounds or change his grade by 20 points or anything like that. But there are certain reasons why some things are a little outside of what you would want. And if you dig like Jake does, and he's one of the best out there at finding these kinds of things, okay, yeah, you don't want a guy missing 15% of his tackles, but how many of those were in those kind of situations? And from what you said from your draft study, quite a few of them.
Quite a few of them. It's there for you if you want to go make your own assumption. That's what I tried to do. I cut up film for 5 hours on that guy. I found everything I could, watched as many snaps as I could, cut up the tape, and that's a process, highlighting the player and talking about it. I bet there's 75 snaps you can watch in that film room, which is probably a record high for me. I just had so much fun watching him that I wanted to put plays that mattered on tape, both good and bad, plays that mattered on tape, and give you my feedback. I think he's a Deion Jones 2.0. I think he's a Deion Jones who can play better in the pass game. Maybe not quite as good as a box defender, but similar height, similar weight, similar testing, similar. They were both picked number 52 in their respective drafts. I just think it's a similar type of guy and similar type of player. And if that's the outcome, you get a Deion Jones who can cover in space. Watch out, man, because Deion Jones is a hell of a football player.
There goes Robert Rochelle to the Rams. The Central Arkansas corner was on Feldman's freak list. Super athletic. The season ended, and then he got hurt before the Senior Bowl. So all the stuff that scouting community was really, really excited about him being a small school gem last summer, he never got the chance to show. A little outside the age guardrail, so it was going to be interesting to see if he was a guy that they might bend that for had he slid further down, but doesn't matter now. He's off the board.
Who did Baltimore take?
They're on the clock as far as I know. I have not seen anything for Baltimore.
I see some people saying on the clock, so I didn't know if Baltimore had already.
Oh, they may have. I could be behind here. Yeah, another guy that's not on our list, but we mentioned him earlier, Victor Dimukeji. I saw somebody ask something about edge. I thought of him. I liked him as a day 3 guy for a long time. And then Andrew Berry the other day made the comment about how they love guys who are young and have 3 or more seasons of production in a big conference. Well, he's still 21 and he had 4 seasons of super production at Duke in the ACC. So we'll see.
Man, I think Baltimore.
Tylan Wallace goes to Baltimore.
They got Bateman and Tylan Wallace, and now Hollywood. They have completely changed their wide receiver room for the better.
Indeed, they have.
I hate those bastards, man. They have changed their wide receiver room for the better. Three fun players now in Hollywood, and we know what we all thought of Bateman, and we know. I like Tylan Wallace. I equated Tylan Wallace to being a more athletic version of Rashard Higgins. I think he does a lot of similar things at the catch point. So, what are you going to do?
I do. And speaking of the Ratbirds, I mentioned something on Twitter this morning. Everybody's talking about JOK is a Lamar stopper. He's going to spy him. But first of all, Lamar stopper is just a silly term. There's a reason we know guys like that, and you have to look. You're trying to find one guy because there is no Lamar stopper. You can just slow him down. But as much as, and it would be, he is somebody who could potentially help chase him down in
Tommy
space when he runs. There we go. Tommy Togiai. But I like JOK's, real quick before we get onto that, JOK, his ability to cover the tight ends and take away Mark Andrews, who is Lamar's security blanket when he breaks the pocket. His ability to do that excites me more than him chasing him down. Let's talk Tommy Togiai. What do you got? You're the film guy.
I like Tommy Togiai, man. He came on strong. You go watch that Clemson game, and he dominated the point of attack. I am going to cut. We have some quick film of him. I haven't our setup here, so go through some of Dane's notes, and I'll get this loaded up for us real quick and show you guys some clips.
Let me. It's going to take me a second to get there.
Big believer in this. So I really. What a draft! What a freaking draft, Steve. We thought Tommy Togiai might go in the 3rd.
Here we go. Dane's his wrap up. Overall, Togiai needs to develop his handwork and timing as a pass rusher, but he boasts developed power, physical hands, and budding instincts. He projects as a stout run defender with pass rush upside, grade third or fourth round. He's his 8th overall interior defensive lineman for Dane. So, you're talking about a guy who, at least, as we've been talking about, can come in and be rotational in there and help improve the run defense, which has been a struggle in the middle for a long time. If he can learn to give you something on the pass rush side, that's fantastic. But you've got Malik Jackson in there to do that, as you pointed out constantly, Jake. You've got Jadeveon Clowney you can move in there and do that. And between him and Andrew Billings, who is also known pretty in a similar style as more of a run defender and can give you some pass rush here and there. I think that really sets up the rotation very well. I really like Togiai, especially he's coming in as a rookie where he's not going to be asked to take on starter snaps and be the guy in there. He's going to get to learn, which is a situation that he needed. I like this pick quite a bit.
I definitely do too. Our boy AJ Schulte, AJ Draft Scout on Twitter, does stuff with Pro Football Network, comps him to Sheldon Richardson. So I like that. I haven't watched enough of Tommy to quite get there, but I've watched plenty to make you to feel great about him as a potential mid-round. Now getting him here, man, you love it when the board comes together. There are 775 of you in here right now. God, you guys are great.
I love you guys, but you're sick, man.
The city is sick. I'm trying to find my video of with these guys that we had.
If you follow me or follow the main OBR account on Twitter, I just tweeted out we had a OBR prospect profile page put together for Tommy Togiai. It's got 6 or 8 different videos. It's got Lance Zierlein's notes. It's got Tony Pauline's notes. It's got clips and stuff that people put out on Twitter of all these guys. So I just tweeted it out. If you follow me, you can see it on your screen at Brownlock Draft, or if you follow at the OBR, the main account over there, I just retweeted it from there as well.
All right, I'm going to try to share this window. There it is. Okay, so this is from a video we did earlier previewing a lot of these folks, and we can talk a bit specifically about Tommy. All right, there it is. 2019, relatively quiet, didn't play a ton. 9 run stops, 73.2 Pro Football Focus grade, 1 quarterback hit, 2 hurries, 1 batted pass. He came on in 2020, second team All Big Ten, 10 run stops, 2 sacks, 21 hurries, 2 batted passes, and boy, is he strong at the point of attack. So let's go through some of these clips. And
I think he's a good example of what we just said, Jake, if I remember right. You love to say, even if he doesn't fill the stat sheet, he was disrupting a lot of plays. Disruption is production.
Dane Brugler quote. I love it.
Yeah.
It's great, man. There he is along the inside, splitting that double team for a sack, baby.
That's a great rep. Ball should have been out, sure, but still, man, come on.
Spin move back inside to meet Trevor Lawrence.
That's pretty.
Yeah, he dominated this football game. Like, without a doubt, dominated it. Taking on that. And that's what you want. Like right here, you got to eat these 2 as long as you can. Eat those 2 as long as you can to keep your backers clean. I mean, imagine Mr. JOK darting through that alley right there. I'm sorry, but Jackson Carman or whoever that's their left guard, you're not going to stop him. It's not going to work in your favor, man.
Well, and that rep right there, it's another great example. He ends up being part of the tackle, but even if he hadn't been, he plugged up where the play was. He effed up the play. So that's what disruption is production right there. Even if he hadn't been part of the tackle,
splitting more double teams, swim move. I love that quick hit right there. You see that club swim, boom, boom over top, gets hit here in a vulnerable position, stays on balance, still splits. Works down the line to end up making the tackle. It's a crazy great rep. He dominated this Clemson game, man. If he's bringing that level of ability to Cleveland, he's a great fit. It's a Big Ten championship game. Look at that. Look at that underneath pad level right there, Steve. Look at the right arm get underneath that left shoulder. Get out of my way, young man. Down the line, boom. That's what we call a run stop. So good player. I like it. I like it a lot. I like the value at that pick a lot. And I think I'm going to say that Andrew Berry's pretty good at his job. So they are doing a fantastic job.
Well, and I'm sure that, approval from you and me has been, his main goal all along. So I'm sure he loves that. But yeah, I mean, how could you have preferred a different interior defensive lineman there? Yeah, there's a couple other guys out there that would have been in the conversation. But again, like we keep saying, maybe it wasn't the perfect pick, but how can you be mad at the pick? It's a good pick, and you're halfway through round 4 at this point. Good pick.
Yeah, I think the Andrew Berry ultimate gets us meter with a Notre Dame player and an Ohio State player in the same draft for his Cleveland Browns fan base. It's right up there. Wow, New Orleans took Ian Book in the 4th round.
Oh, holy farts!
What?
Wow. Man,
I gotta.
Okay.
Hey, I gotta go wake my wife up. Hold down the fort. Read to the folks about Tom. She needs me to wake her up. I'm literally 60 seconds. I'll be right back.
All right, let me find I'm going to go through Dane's beast here and see if I can find where does he have. He has got Ian Book. He's got him as his 9th overall quarterback. Let me go down and read the notes. Here we go. His overall Book needs to improve his trigger and touch as a pocket passer, but he is an instinctive, athletic play extender and a proven winner. He projects as an NFL reserve capable of locking down a good backup job. And that's about right. As a Notre Dame guy, I watched him play perfectly acceptable as a college quarterback. Smart, gets the ball out on time, gets it generally pretty accurate, does not have a rocket for an arm, but has enough to make most of the throws. And he definitely can evade the rush. He's not Lamar. He's not going to run for, 135 yards a game or anything like that. But he's one of those guys that we talked about for years where we were searching for a quarterback that if you're mobile enough in the pocket, if you can step, slide, reset, and get outside and keep your eyes downfield, that's enough for most guys. You don't have to be a Lamar type guy. You do have to be able to extend plays. And that's one thing he definitely can do. And when he does it, I saw him do it over and over and over and over and over at Notre Dame. He can step up, slide, get out, and he's moving to his right or his left. His eyes are always downfield. He's a smart dude. I don't think he's ever going to be a long-term answer for anybody. But like Dane says here, this is early, I think, for him, quite a bit early. But he's got a career. He's one of these guys that 11 years from now, we're going to be going, holy crap, Ian Book is still in the league? Yeah, I mean, he's been earning, that the guy with the backwards ball cap and the clipboard for 11 seasons, and then he comes in for 2 or 3 games every year and does enough to not lose games for you. I think that is his ceiling, I think. I wonder what this says about all the things they've been trying to make people believe that, what's his name, Taysom Hill is the guy. I don't know. Does this say something about that? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. Listen, we're going to hang out with you guys. I don't know. New Orleans with some interesting selections in this thing, but we're going to hang out with you guys until the 169 pick, and then we're going to sign off because we need to continue our lives. We've been on air way too long.
And don't they've got 153 now too. Remember from the trade down with Baltimore, so we've got 2 more picks. Detroit, I mean.
Look, there's still a lot of players we like. If they could get a Shaun Wade, Jamar Johnson, Trill Williams, and those 2 picks, dude, that'd be crazy. There's still a lot of talent right there. DeMcCage went, didn't he? But I know that we're not updating this thing perfectly.
I don't think so.
He did not go? Okay.
I haven't seen him go.
Oh, Rumpf went. I was confusing the 2.
Yeah, I haven't seen him go.
Okay, good, cool. Yeah, all 10 of those guys are available. I'm an idiot. Credit to our graphics department, Ian. Let's. We've talked about
Let me see if I can find some other guys that aren't on that list.
I want to talk about.
There goes Janarius Robinson. Rashad Wildgoose was a guy. He's one of the young guys still. He's not yet 21. They apparently like that. Super athletic. He's still out there. Trill Williams, we just talked about. Kerry Benson Jr. had a lot of fans earlier in the year and just sort of disappeared after he opted out. Those are the guys at corner. If you're still looking safety, heck, Jamar Johnson is still out there. Hamza Nasruddin is still out there. Hufanga is still out there. Caden Stearns has a nice athletic profile, if uneven tape. he's still out there. As far as edge goes, we mentioned Dimukeji. I don't really see anybody else out there that really fits the guardrails. They could surprise us, but that's about it for edge. Interior offensive line. David Moore, he's not outside the age guardrail, but he's butt close up against it. He's the interior guy from Grambling that I really, really like.
Yeah. Good point. I should mention on Togia, a quick note, he is a B-gap player, so he's a 3-tech guy. He has not been a shade guy. He's had some snaps, but in 2019 he had 36 snaps in a shade or head up on the center, 0 set up there. 36 A-gap snaps, B-gap 204. 2020 only 29 A-gap snaps, 243 B-gaps. They give him a 3rd round grade, so to get him at the spot that they got him at 132 makes you feel a little better about it, right? Just kind of getting that adjustment number. The run stop rate was not quite the number you would like to see, but he's grading well against the run, so he's doing his job, just maybe not being the guy to get him on the ground. 71.2 true pass rush grade, which is above metric average. 77.0 pass rush grade in general, and a 16.1% pass rush win rate is a really, really solid number. The bottom line from them over at PFF said Togia is a 1-gap disrupting 3-tech with with a good deal of room to grow. So, and he is. Do we talk about age? He's just 21, right?
Right. Yeah. He's well under. And just quickly to address the folks needling me in the comments, I was gonna say he's right up close against the age guardrail, and then I was going to say he was butting up against it, and I just combined the two and said he was butt close. So yeah, there you go. That's where that came from.
We don't want to be butt close. He will turn 22, Togai, on September 19th. So he is still we have not seen the Browns take a player 22. We've only seen them select one player 22 or above, right? Was Harrison Bryant 22 at the time of selection?
Yeah, Harrison Bryant turned 22 the day before they picked him. So he was just 22.
Okay, so they really trend 21-20. That is, you can see that they're making some bending on the relative athletic score, spark stuff by round 4 through 7. That's pretty consistent through analysis now through 2 drafts. But the age is an unbendable number right now. We have no evidence that it is not a hard line that they try to keep. So, yeah.
I mean, could they bend it the deeper we get in the draft? Of course. And especially, I was thinking about this last night because we were talking about it while we were doing the pod. In this draft class, which is much shallower than normal, I mean, let's say, for example, they can't get rid of 211 and they still have it. And all the guys they like that are within the guardrail are gone. I mean, they may, because this year is so bizarre and there's so few guys and all that kind of stuff, they may just go, you know what? Normally we wouldn't do this, but we got to pick somebody here. We can't just pass. So let's grab a guy that's 23. I mean, we don't know. We have no idea. We'll see.
Until we have evidence, we presume what we know. And that's what we know is, and we've liked some guys. Hell, we wrote a full article on liking a lot of guys who were 23 and above. Yeah. But, you know, I get the Browns' decision-making. It's better to sign a guy. If a guy breaks out for you, it's better to sign him at 25, 26. It's just a fact. You get a better. You get the better prime of their athletic life, 25 to 29 in a second contract. So it is what it is.
Speaking of older prospects, there goes one right there. Rashad Weaver, already, if not already 24, could be 24 very soon. Edge rusher out of Pitt, goes to the Titans. I doubt he was, whether you liked him or not, I doubt he was on the Browns board for that simple reason.
Yeah, without a doubt. We just have – I mean, you could ultimately miss on some people. Like, I mean, wasn't George Kittle a 24-year-old prospect, older guy when he came in?
I'm not sure. You could be right, but I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure he was an older draft pick and a 5th-round guy or 4th-round guy. So, like, you could miss on some guys here and there, but they want to mitigate risk as much as they can. And you mitigate risk by taking – you play the odds and you get the younger guys. So, smart move. I like that Togi pick, man. It was at the top of our board, a second
really
guy,
good pick.
Available. Yeah. I like it a lot.
Here we go. Our friend here at the OBR, Cody Swick, our analytics, we lock him in his nerd cabin. Per PFF, Tommy Togiai had the third highest pass rush win rate, 16.1%, and the 8th best run stop percentage, 10.1%, among all Power 5 interior defensive linemen in 2020. So maybe he doesn't do everything elite, but he does everything well.
Yeah, how about that for your data? Whatever. Freaking nerds. Nah, that's great. Cody's good at that. He's really good at that. I think he uses Sports Info Solutions for some of those, which are really good metric company there. 750 of you still here. We're pick 136. We get to see the Browns again, pick 153. And if they keep this one, they could try to make that one a fourth next year. If someone's willing to get hungry after a player, they could go crazy there. Same with 163. Right now, how many players have they selected? So they've gone Newsome, JOK, Schwartz, Hudson, Togiai. So they're sitting 5 deep. They have a potential to bring in 8 guys, right? Am I wrong on that? No, 9.
Yeah, three remaining, 153, 169, and 211. They traded away 257.
That's right. Tim, I think you're right. I think they are clearly watching our board. They're like, oh, those two losers over in that OBR stream. Those guys know what they're talking about. Let's.
I know we've got millions of dollars of research that we paid for here, but what does the dork in the Hawaiian shirt think?
The guy wearing black and brown combination today. Oh man! Did any of you guys in the comments? Anybody of you joining us on a different day? Did anybody go to the draft live? Did you enjoy it? Was it awesome? Was it everything you wanted it to be? Let us know. We're curious. We didn't get up there and see it in person. It's just too hard to do this job and cover it in person. Marco Wilson jumped like a 47-inch vertical. He was some stupid vertical. I just remember seeing a picture of that. So
yeah.
Dan Cooksey says he went to day one. That's cool.
Wasn't he the guy that came out blasted as a freshman and then just tailed off every year? I'm trying to remember if it was. I know it was one of the Florida guys, but was it him?
I think so, and I think he was the LSU Florida shoe thrower too. In that game, that ended up costing them 15 yards for the shoe throw.
Right. Trey Brown, there's another one of Jeff Lloyd's guys. I tried to tell him 100 times that he's already 23 years old, and Jeff wouldn't listen. He never listens to me.
Never listens. Absolutely. Marco Wilson, he had a 62 grade his first year. Second year as a starter, he did have a great 2019 from a numbers point of view. He had 4 interceptions then touch? He had 3 interceptions in that season. He had a 70.8 grade, and it went back down significantly. His comparison is a player we are all familiar with, Demarius Randall. They think he's a 5th-round projection, Marco Wilson, so a little ahead of what Pro Football Focus has. Most of his average metric data is below the number that they'd like it to see.
Which, Demarius Randall, how it ended here with him, sort of soured everybody and everything. But when he was on, he was a solid player. I mean, he had a good year for us that first year. Year one, we all thought we absolutely destroyed the Kaiser trade by getting him, and then things turned. But
I still think they did. Even just getting one good year like they did of Demarius,
I agree.
I would say they did. But then he really was worried about the next contract. There's a lot of talking points for him were about his next contract, and it never really worked out for him, unfortunately. Here's my opinion.
Demarius handed the ball to Hugh, right? That was him?
That was him.
Okay. Well, then I like him forever, no matter what.
Yeah, he'll always have a place in my heart. I think even Blue Wire was an upstart podcast company at the time, put out a shirt of him handing the ball to Hugh, which was pretty freaking funny. All right. I'm not going to put that on my board. I'm going to put that on
Josh Ball, tackle out of Marshall to the Cowboys. No idea.
Nope. No idea. Cowboys made the pick early. A lot of people I follow from Dallas on Twitter are really, really confused about that corner pick too. The kid from Oregon State.
Yeah.
So they're going through the ringer. Something we don't understand.
They might look at him more as a safety though. I saw people saying that about him because he's huge. He's like 6'4", and is better playing with the action in front of him. So, and they have some issues at safety down there if I remember right. So we'll see. We'll see.
Somebody asked me why Tay Gowan's still on the board. It's pretty simple. Tay is 23.
Mm-hmm. As long as there's enough mayo on the tuna sandwich, Ian. Just looking at the comments there. Yeah. And I know there are mayo haters out there, but if you're going to have tuna salad or chicken salad, it can't be dry. Boy, we are definitely in day 3 discussions. We're talking about tuna sandwiches. Oh. Now I see. We're getting to the point where Rich Eisen would be. They're almost to stump the truck time here, where they're doing anything to fill.
Were there other? I'm trying to answer a couple Twitter questions. Were there other tackles at this point that you would have had more eye on? I like Tommy Doyle, but he tested so well out of Miami, Ohio. But I have a stern no Miami, Ohio draft pick after Ben Roethlisberger. So,
trying to think who we put on because we did the tackles. Let me see if there was anybody else. I don't, it was one of those things where, tackle and running back and a couple other places were like, yeah, they might late, but, so when you're looking in that range, there's nobody that's going to blow you away. I mean, there's a reason that these guys are still around this point. I like I said, when they picked him, and I think they picked him ahead of us, I liked Dan Moore out of Texas A&M. I liked what he could offer. I know Adrian Ely from Oklahoma has fans a little bit further down the board, but I know he has some fans out there. There just really weren't a lot of guys left. I'm trying to look at Dane's board here and see the guys that are left, see if there's anybody that really fits. Alaric Jackson. Some people like Alaric Jackson if you move him inside. I don't really think he fits the system, but boy, he's strong. He's a beast. If he gets his hands on you, he can finish you. Nah, not really. There really wasn't anybody else that I love, especially for our system. A lot of Stone Forsythe has some fans, but he's over 23, so he'd be off of our board.
If they give me one of Jamar Johnson, Trill Williams, Hampson, Asirladine, Thomas Graham, or Sean Wade, I'm in heaven. That just one of those guys, just one more defensive back that can come in and compete. That would be my ideal scenario the rest of the way. It's been a pretty popular question among social media and whatnot, so I did want to clarify that. Sean Wade, I view him as a guy who can play nickel safety. He can slide into the slot. He can play dime sets. He has experience. The thing that I like about him is, although it did not go well for him outside, he has a year's worth of experience playing that position, and that matters. It's kind of like Troy Hill, who has inside-out experience. You want guys who can do multiple things, not in a pinch. You don't want Sean playing outside much, as we know, but you want to potentially get a guy who can do it in a pinch if you need him to. And I like that about Sean Wade. So I think he's gotten to the point now where a guy who was a projected first-round pick the year before because of his tape is now a projected. He's going what? Were we going to be in the 5th round soon?
We're almost in the 5th round, yeah.
So it's like the value at that spot. It's so worth it. And Trill Williams is a freak of nature athlete. He's got flaws in his tape. He's got a lot of flaws, and he might be. He was a slot guy too, to be honest. He played the most of his snaps at Syracuse were slot, so people see him as a slot nickel, even a deep safety. But the athleticism is so ridiculous that he can play as a developmental player wherever you want to put him. I would prefer somebody like Trill Williams over Sheldrick Redwine. I'm sorry, it's just me personally. That type of player is what I like more. Now, I'm a big believer in John Johnson. I don't know what's going on there. I think if you're looking for one more safety to add to this room as a guy who has a role that he can play, I don't think that they have a true center field type safety. I love John Johnson, but he is not the fastest straight line guy. And I think sometimes that gets him into a little bit of trouble here and there. So I don't love him always being a free safety type. I think John Johnson's got a nice skill set to be a solo center field or free safety in certain packages. And I think he would be a great fit. I would love any of the 10 there. I would be into. I think Trey Smith is probably off the board because they have selected an offensive lineman that they think has inside out versatility. And I think there's something going on there with Trey Smith and the blood clot stuff I've heard about. So I think he'd probably be a good player, but I think he'd probably be off the board at this point. But yeah, all those others, even if they took Victor Dimukeji, man, fine.
Or Hufanga. Yeah.
That dude's a player, man. Yeah, Fanga too, of course.
Since we've been talking, the Bengals took Dante Smith, the tackle from East Carolina, who had some fans. And interesting pick, very Steelers-esque pick. Buddy Johnson, linebacker out of Texas A&M. He's not going to light the world on fire, but he tested well. He's got some fun athletic traits. And, if there's one thing, I mean, the Steelers have lots of things they do well as much as we hate them, but one thing they really just have a knack for is getting the most out of whoever they put at linebacker. They just find a way to get that guy to give the maximum of their talent every single time. So, yeah, that's a good pick for them. So naturally, I hate it.
Naturally, I hate it.
We are at 141, so we're 12 picks away from being on the clock again. Yeah, and to just sum it up, you don't have to talk me into Trill Williams. I would have been happy with him at 89, 91, to be perfectly honest, under certain circumstances, depending on the board, obviously. But yeah, a guy with his size, 6'2", 210, I think 208, ran a legit 4.41, and like you said, he's got holes in his game, but boy, he's aggressive. He's got a nose for the ball. He loves to create turnovers, and in the versatile, hybrid amoeba-like defense that they're trying to build here, guys who, like you said, guys who can do 2 or 3 different things to be able to disguise everything. Guy with his skill set could come in very, very handy.
For sure. We had a commenter who got upset and left because we listed him as an IDL instead of a DT for Togi, I guess. So, if you can't understand what IDL stands for, you probably are in the wrong chat group on a Saturday afternoon. Anyway, so if you have not gone to the OBR channel and not channel, but our YouTube feed, and check out the photo posted by Wreck This League, Seth, our graphics guru, the Need for Speed graphic. It's a lot of fun. Check that out if you get a minute. He has been putting up dynamic photos throughout this whole entire process and giving us really great graphics content, much better than what we deserve. That's for sure. He does fantastic work. And if you ever need graphic design help, call him. Get a hold of him on Twitter. DM him. He's a fantastic guy to work with. He will give you a very fair number to work with too. He's great. He's a great dude, great person. You should get a hold of him if you need anything designed graphically with a computer and a
Seth,
mouse.
if you're listening, tweet that photo out, the Need for Speed photo out. People would really enjoy it. We'll all retweet it for you.
It's on the OBR's feed, by the way.
Oh, is it on the main account? Okay.
It sure is. It sure is.
Yep, there it is. That's a great. That's fantastic. Yeah, I wonder if Ian can find it and put it up here.
Yeah, we got time. Pick 141 is up. Still got time. There's still 764 of you with us. Hope you guys' weekend's going well. Hope you enjoyed the Browns draft. Drop in the comments, if you can, your favorite pick so far. Could be any pick they've made, from Greg Newsome all the way down to Tommy Togiai, who we just saw at pick 132. Let us know your favorite pick is and why. We will use some of those comments if we see a good talking point there. We would appreciate that.
That's a very interesting pick there for the Rams. Jacob Harris, 6'5". I think most people are projecting him to move to like a move tight end position, but tested like a lunatic, like an absolute
4'4".
lunatic.
Yeah.
If he wasn't already 24 years old, I think you and I both would be just pounding the day 3 table for him right here.
Absolutely. His story is so cool. He went to Florida International as a soccer guy out of high school, got tired of the soccer idea, went to, where did he go? Western Kentucky, walked on to play football, left Western Kentucky, went back and coached JV football, did that for a year, walked on it at UCF, and then got a scholarship after his first walk-on year, and then earned a scholarship. And he's old, he's 24, going to be 25, but a freak of nature, tight end athlete that is a lot of fun. So pulling for him. He's got a unique story. But again, happy about Tommy Togiai. A lot of you guys in the comments when I asked about your favorite pick is JOK, which I haven't seen a player invigorate the fan base like that in a couple of years as a pick. Like that just really got everybody going. If you have not watched our live reaction to that, it is pretty. I went back and watched it. I'm not proud. I'm not proud of it, but I stand by it. So whatever.
Yes. The only thing I could say for myself is all I said was I want to say bad words. You actually said a few. So
yeah, I shouldn't have, but here we are. Emotions. Emotions.
Well, I think that's one of the things that, we say this all the time, but it's worth saying again. Yes, we're covering the team, and yes, but we're not, old school media types, and we're not in the press box. Fred is, and he's amazing at it. He goes down there. You can't cheer in the press box, even if you're the beat writer for the team. That's those things. We're fans first, so we react just like everybody else. We get excited when they do something well. We get furious when they blow things and do stuff wrong. We're emotive fans. So, maybe you could say we should have been more composed or whatever. You know what? I don't care. We freaking love the pick, and we let it out for 30 seconds. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, man. I think it was a fun moment, and someone in Cleveland is probably going to take that video and make fun of us for it, and that's fine. But it was a great moment.
This is not the same old Brown stream, Andy. So,
oh, there it is. There's the picture we were talking about right there that Seth made. That's fantastic.
That's pretty great. That's fun. Yeah, that's great. He's pretty good at what he does. You guys should use him if you'd like to. Let's see. I heard
we're getting there. Royce Newman, tackle from Mississippi. Vikings are on the clock at 1:43. We're 10 picks away.
10 picks away, and then we got to sit around for another
16.
16. We're 169 way at the end. Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
Yeah, nice.
That's the stupidest joke, but it cracks me up every time.
Every time. It's just worth it. I'm back to this. Is an interesting discussion.
Traded. Raiders traded up.
I think if you look at I know they're calling JOK a will, but what they're going to ask him to do is not traditional linebacker stuff. It is going to be playing in space type of thing. So I don't view him as a linebacker. I watch Jamin Davis tape and I watch David Collins tape, and then you turn on Owusu-Koramoah tape. They're completely different players. And I know they're calling him a will, and they're making the linebacker jokes like they're making, but they're drawing up stuff on a whiteboard like the D. Podesta's mentioning and Stefanski's talking about they're doing down there in the offices. You don't do that for a will linebacker. You have an idea of making that will linebacker a different type of player is what I'm getting at. So while a will linebacker, if you look at a traditional book of football instructions and what that position is, it's going to be completely different from what you see JOK do next year. So, I
don't either. I think he's a hybrid. I think he's a rover. I think he's whatever name you want to give him. But if you want to say that he is a linebacker, I think it further proves the point we've been trying to make, that the linebacker position has evolved. Because like you said, when you think of linebacker, at least, people my age, you think of the guys with the neck roll. You think of Pepper Johnson and Carl Banks and these guys between the tackles that will come up and slobber knockers and that kind of stuff. That's just not what it does anymore. That's not. You have to be able to cover. You have to be able to play in space. So if he is a linebacker, I don't think it means anything except that all of us who had been saying the linebacker position is evolving were right. It's a completely different set of responsibilities, and Jake has broken it down, and he's one of the best that there is out there, and he sees things on tape that I certainly don't see. He's way better at that stuff than I am. So I think call him whatever you want, but I think the argument the whole time this past few months has been about traditional off-ball linebacker. That's not what they needed, and I don't think that's why they drafted him.
No, I don't think so either. I think he'll be all over the field. They'll give him some freedom to do things. And if you go again, I'll talk about the article. Go in there and read my comparison to his player comparison, in current NFL, and kind of how people have talked about him as compared to Isaiah Simmons, and why I think Isaiah Simmons struggled his rookie season, and why I think Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah is ready to do things that Isaiah Simmons was not prepared to do. Because of the way he was used at the collegiate level and the way he found success at Clemson. So I think you gotta step back from that a little bit and look at what the player actually did at college. What did he excel at college? Check the film yourself. I put a ton of film in there. We're excited because we got a football player, and I think Steve summed it up so perfectly before we came on, is that Isaiah Simmons is a better athlete, but JOK is a better football player, and that matters ultimately. If the athlete is not that much worse than the other, which one's good at doing football things? And he is good at doing football things.
And I will use your JOK film room to seg into, let's do another quick pitch while we're trying to pass the time here for the 50% off deal. Ian, if you're still listening to us and haven't tuned us out and aren't watching cartoons, which I would be doing if I was in your shoes, maybe put that graphic back up, because this film room that Jake put out, if I'm not mistaken, this was a free one, correct, Jeff? Or Jake?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. The rest of them
Jake
will go back to subscriber only, I should say.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. If you love what you see in the JOK film room and the Greg Newsom film room and all this stuff that he's putting out there for free, most of what Jake does that's that detailed and that in depth and has just tremendous information in it is behind the paywall. I know that angers some people, but you know what? We got bills to pay too. So if you want to get that kind of stuff all year long, not just about draft prospects, but about guys that are on the roster, during trade deadline season, he'll do film rooms on guys we're talking about trading for, even if they don't end up trading for them. Free agency, he does a lot of that stuff too. That's all going to be behind the paywall. So now's the time. Get in for the 50% off, and you can hear all the stuff that Jake does that you just can't get anywhere else in the Cleveland market.
This was somebody said about the kind words. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that very much, man. I think the Browns, there was somebody who said something about the Chiefs needing Owusu-Koramoah. The Chiefs defense needed him. Well, the Browns pick at 59 was a pick behind the Chiefs. So I think that was a big part of the reason among some other teams. Pittsburgh, what was Pittsburgh, 54, 55, another team that they wanted to jump to get that young man. So they traded up because they love the player, and they saw an opportunity to get out in front of teams that also they thought were going to take the player. So that's a combination. We will put the top 10 board up here in just a moment again. Somebody asked for that, if we could put it back up.
Three picks have gone to what we've been talking.
Essentially say, I should capitalize on what you're saying, Stephen. We'll talk about the picks. It's the thing that makes them exclusive. What I want them to be exclusive for our folks at the OBR is the amount of time it takes to make them and help you. It's taking a ton of insight, film, cutting it up, effort, and putting it in your lap for you to consume and giving you an analysis of the player. So it's a time thing, That's the biggest thing. That makes it a job. It is a full-on time commitment. Like, we got done with that pod last night, and I was up till 5:30 in the morning trying to get that film cut up to have it out before the draft today on Owusu-Koramoah. That's what you got to do to get stuff done, and do it at an acceptable level, not doing it the bare minimum. And as some do at the bare minimum, we try to be in depth and be thorough. And that's the goal here. So that's what we try to do. And we're not trying to beg for your money. We're trying to give you good content. And there's time that gets poured into giving you good content. And hopefully that meets the mesh of what you want as a Browns fan, and what you crave is getting that content delivered into your lap every morning. So,
and on top of that, obviously, as everyone has known for years, you only get Lane's nuggets if you're a subscriber. And, as much time and effort as you and I put into researching these guys and trying to narrow it down from the guardrails and everything else that we see, the stuff that Lane puts out and tells us in the DMs and puts in Rumor Central and all that kind of stuff, it helps us narrow it down even further. Sometimes I will ask him, I'll ask Lane, I'll go, hey, I think this guy fits. Have you heard his name? And, he'll say, yes or no, and you can release this or you can't release. That's got to stay between, because he can't burn his source. I mean, that's part of the deal. But if you want all of that stuff to know what might happen and very well could happen and very often does happen ahead of time, you can only get Lane stuff by coming behind the paywall. So sales pitch over. The picks that have gone off since we've been talking, the Raiders traded up and took the guy that you and I talked about at the top of the broadcast, Tyree Gillespie, the safety out of Missouri. I like him. He's very good. He's got to have the right situation, but he's got some interesting stuff. Josh Kando had some fans in Browns Twitter. The Chiefs took him, the edge from Florida State, and the first pick in round 5. We are now into round 5. Nice. Buckeye fans will know the Jags and Urban Meyer took Luke Farrell, the tight end out of Ohio State. Jets are currently on the clock at 146. We are 7 picks away from the Browns probably, since we've been sitting here waiting, trading out again just to make us sit here longer.
That's the truth, man. I can't go past 169. That's about the number that today will allow me to sit around for.
Jamie and Sherwood, the safety out of Auburn that we were talking about not that long ago, goes to the Jets at 146. Texans are on the clock.
I got to figure out. I would love to dig into whoever gets Jamar Johnson and figure out what the reasoning is on that one. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, somebody asked earlier what the comparison player for me is for JOK. I think it's Deion Jones. I think that's where he can be, a better covering version of Deion Jones. So stand by that one. I know he talked too. Cormo talked about studying a ton of Darius Leonard tape to see how he's been successful in the NFL.
That's interesting.
So
yeah,
that's a player he would look at. And Darius Leonard's a hell of a player, and nobody knows Darius Leonard and what Darius Leonard does well than Anthony Walker, who will be his teammate in the linebacker room or wherever they stick him, whatever position room they stick him in. And I think Darius Leonard plays a little different style of football than JOK does, especially as a prospect coming in. But I think that he can be a better. He could be a similar type of player. I'm not basing this on, you got to look at height, weight. How do they match up? He matches up almost the same to Deion Jones, and I don't think people study many of the NFC guys. Deion Jones is a hell of a player, man. So that to me is the right comparison. A better guy who can run, who can close quickly, and who can cover. I think he covers better than Deion did coming out of LSU. So that's my comparison. But he, like I said, he's watching Walker. There's a ton of guys that are of his ilk that he can watch, and Darius Leonard's one of them. So here we go, man. We're getting close. We are 6 picks away. Do we know the Texans are taking? You know all these things ahead of time.
Pick is in, but has not been announced yet.
Okay. Do you watch the NFL Network's coverage, or do you watch the ESPN coverage?
I've got NFL Network on.
Yeah, me too. After the
for a few reasons, and you can call this whatever it is. I like what what Rich does with the Rich Run and the charity and all that kind of stuff. And I also just think, and this is nothing against the ESPN coverage or anybody else's coverage, I just think they tend to have more fun on the set. And part of that is due to Rich Eisen. I've always liked Rich since his days on SportsCenter. He's just got one of those personalities where he's good at it. He's serious about it. He knows what he's talking about, but he also knows we're just talking about football. So, don't get overly serious. Let's joke a little bit. This is, we're not talking about, this isn't the UN. He's got that impish quality to him that I don't know. There's something about Rich Eisen that I've just always liked. I really respect him in pretty much every way. Brevin Jordan finally off the board to the Texans at 147.
Brevin Jordan slid a little bit.
A lot.
Mac Wilson retweeting a Owusu Koromoa tweet. Mac's an active Twitter user. I hope the best for him. He takes a lot of crap from fans. I hope the best for him, that he can find a role and a way to stick around here long term, because he cares. I do genuinely think he cares, and you can say about a lot of guys don't care. Yeah. So I think. Well, I
think what you and I have been saying for a year now. Everybody has their own opinion of his play and his future on the team and all that kind of stuff. If he fails, it will not be from lack of effort. And that's really all you can ask. If a guy is out there giving everything he has and still comes up short, you can't really be upset because he had no more to give. And there's one thing you can say about Mac. Dude tries, man. He's always working. So
I think he tries. Look, I get it. He's limited. He's not a good football player right now. I pull for guys. This is his livelihood. So I hope it works and he can keep playing in the NFL. So whatever. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But I'm not going to wish that he gets cut or wish that he goes.
Right.
So I'm not. That's not that's not how I view it. So whatever. If that's not how you view it, that's fine. Anyway,
Falcons on the clock at 148, and the pick is in.
Question that has come up here. Good question. Andrew Pierce. Shout out to Andrew, who's been asking some great questions about prospects that we have talked about. He has clearly watched all of our draft videos because, or maybe he hasn't, maybe he studies them on his own and figures out. I shouldn't say that you're relying on us, but I know you like both of those guys, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Boy, they're really similar grade-wise. Probably Mitchell because for two reasons. One, he's a far more developed pass catcher. Not that Jamar Jefferson can't do that, but Mitchell is really, really good in the pass game and in pass protection. And I also think he has a bit more long speed. I think he's a more breakaway guy. I mean, neither of them are Nick, obviously, who is. That's unfair. But I think Mitchell in this offense especially could really earn a role. And we're into the 5th round now, so definitely outplay his draft slot. I think Jefferson could do it too. But if in a binary choice between those two for this specific team, I would lean Mitchell, Elijah Mitchell out of Louisiana.
Somebody just sent me a DM on Twitter where 247 Sports, who we don't affiliate with them really. I mean, they're our host, but they do their own thing and they make their own videos. They said the Bears select Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah at number 52 overall. So we traded him apparently. Yeah.
To Quan Graham, this is early for him, but I really like him. He's got to have the right situation. He's undersized, but he can play outside. He can play inside. He's quick. He's athletic. He's not somebody that I think would have been a fit for us, but I like him as a player out of Texas. That's a pretty good pick for
it is
for the Falcons. If they can find a way to get him on the field at the same time as Grady Jarrett could open up a lot of holes for him because Graham can burst by you in a hurry. So maybe that's what they're thinking.
Oh boy.
Bengals are on the clock. We're getting close, guys. We're getting close.
Getting close. Was the side number 48 at Texas? He was 48, right?
46.
Oh, 6. Okay. Bengals took a kicker.
Did they?
I don't know. It's what someone in the comments section said.
I haven't seen anything yet.
I sure hope they did.
I know we met with a kicker. I don't remember which one. He's in the article. That one. Evan McPherson, the kicker out of Florida. The Browns had an actual, not talk to him. They had a meeting with him, and the Bengals just took him. Huh, interesting. At 149. Wow. Joe Goodberry's Twitter feed is probably pretty interesting right now.
Hey, we went through this not too long ago, man. Freaking Austin Cyber debacle.
Oh, yeah. Austin, I thought you were going to talk about Zane. Yeah.
No. I liked Zane. I thought Zane should have gotten a longer leash, but whatever. And
yeah,
Zane was
amazing.
killing it. He was killing it in
Arizona.
In Arizona, but then he went through a rough stretch at the end of the year there. So
kicking is like relief pitchers in baseball. It just the light clicks on and off for no apparent reason. It's bizarre. And then once it does click off, it gets in your head, and those are such specialty things. You start thinking, and it's over.
Yeah, it's like Andrew Miller, lefty from the Indians, man. When it goes, and it goes quick. You're not all Phil Dawsons in the world. I thought Parkey's fine. I think Parkey deserved a chance to come back this year and kick again. And he's not going to make you 54-yard field goals. He's going to, but they don't want to kick those. They want to go for those situations,
right?
And they want to score touchdowns, so they don't put themselves in that situation.
I mean, one of the best kickers in team history before Dawson, Matt Barr, he didn't have range. No. You know, you had to get close. It was a different game back then, so we were punting from the 39 a lot. But now, of course, with the game changed, like you said, they'll be going for that a lot. So if you could find a guy like Matt Barr he didn't have a lot of range, but if you're old enough to remember, inside 40 yards, or 45 yards, dude was automatic, absolutely automatic. So if you can find something like that, you're okay with not hitting a lot of 57-yard field goals. Not everybody can be Seabass. Those guys are rare.
Yeah, that's the thing with Parkey. Make everything about 47 and we're good, man.
Yep,
we're golden. And he did for the most part. He struggled. The thing he struggled with was
extra
PATs, and everybody seems to be struggling with those things. Justin Tucker struggled with those things. You know, like they're weird. The NFL has put it in an adequately weird range, and it is just in your head enough to mess with people. So
it's a 3.5 foot putt that doesn't break at all.
It is, and you think it breaks. That's the thing.
Yep.
You think it's got a little bend to it, and then you walk past, the ball goes past the hole, and you're like, I can't believe that thing didn't break.
Yep.
Whatever. You know, I thought Parkey deserved one more year. He caught a lot of flack. But we're delving into kicker Twitter, kicker YouTube moments, and
we're in hour 14, Jake. I think we're allowed to talk about kickers for a minute.
We're 2 hours into this broadcast. We're 2 more hours. 12 hours of weekend coverage for you guys. I hope this has been fun. We have almost 800 of you in here again. So we're going to do this every year.
I've had a blast.
I've had a blast. We're going to do it every year we can do it. As long as the status quo is the status quo, we're going to do it every year. So I'm glad you guys are with us.
You're 3 picks away. Pick is in for the Eagles. It's been in for a while, but I haven't seen it come up anywhere.
Those guys sniped Milton Williams earlier, bastards.
Kenneth Gainwell, running back out of Memphis. Interesting dude. Good pick for them for sure. Yeah. Bears are on the clock. We're 2 away, guys. I think, everybody has their opinions on kickers, and we just said, it can come and go at a moment's notice. But if you pick a day 3 pick, especially, if you pick, let's say they pick Evan McPherson and he's the guy for the next 10 years, is that worth a 5th round pick? A guy that scores points every time he's on the field? I think it is. Now, can you get this? Can you find the exact same guy that does great for 10 years as a UDFA? Yeah, you can. But in a vacuum, you get a guy that contributes for a decade. I mean, it's hard to be mad at something like that. Now, the Raiders have made the 2 biggest specialist picks in history, I think, and both of them panned out. I mean, if you're going to take Ray Guy in the 1st round and you're going to take Seabass in the 1st round, they better be Ray Guy and Seabass. If they're anything short of that, you have unbelievably wasted a 1st round pick. But you're talking about Ray Guy, who's in the Hall of Fame, and Seabass, who arguably could be on the Hall of Fame. You talk about if they were inside 57 yards for over a decade, it was almost a guaranteed 3 points with Seabass. And that's very valuable in the NFL. Would I do that for a 1st round pick? No, I'm not saying that I should. I'm not advocating. I'm saying if you make that decision like the Raiders have, that's the level. He has to be that good. If he's anything short of that, you've completely wasted it.
Steve wants 1st round kickers. We talked about Tyree Gillespie. The Raiders moved up for him. We didn't really make reference of that. The safety there. I think it was the Raiders that moved up for him not too long ago. We thought he was a potential guy. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Apparently, Philly's going to be on the clock here forever. This is kind of slowing down a little more than I was hoping.
It's strange that our top 10 targets basically haven't changed since the beginning of the day. I think maybe 2 guys have gone off that. It's bizarre.
This is the disconnect, I guess. I don't know. But this is also our guy territory, too, where I'm yawning. I've got like 7 hours of sleep in the last 3 nights. I'm running on fumes. I hope they take one of these safeties, though. That'd be great. I really hope they get a safety here. Or a corner, Trill with inside-out experience, or Sean Wade. Yes, it's Lance Zierlein saying Hampson might not get drafted due to medicals. I could see that knee.
It's got to be at this point.
Yeah.
It's got to be. There's no other explanation. Same thing for Hufanga. Got to be.
Yeah. It's got to be. So they're right outside. That's a cool setup. It's pretty packed down there today. Nice. It looks beautiful.
Yeah, the weather cooperated today, apparently. Bears pick is in, but haven't seen it yet.
Oh, man.
I'm starting to get excited. I'm getting excited for a pick at 153. Man, there is something wrong with me.
You get this one. We built. You wrote 100 days worth of these mocks, so of course you're excited on every pick, man.
Larry Borum, tackle from Missouri. Dane mocked him to us at this general range, I think 2 mocks ago. So I know a little bit about him, but who cares really at this point?
So I'll read real quick Brandon Thorne, who I respect nobody more on Twitter circles for offensive line and defensive line study. He makes a newsletter. He does a great job with his trench warfare content where he breaks down and deciphers the differences between sacks that are high quality, low quality, things that matter. You know, a sack where you beat a guy with a club rip and get home, or you beat a double team and get home, is a more high quality sack than if a quarterback scrambles right into your lap and he falls on top of you and you get a sack. So he differentiates those. Very nice guy. He studies offensive line play thoroughly. He wrote on James Hudson, the Browns are getting a fluid mover and a nasty demeanor and an impressive grip strength in James Hudson. Hudson is a converted defensive tackle who is raw and needs to improve his play strength, but goes to a great situation with Bill Callahan.
Mm-hmm.
He gives it a grade 6.9. Nice is what his pre-draft grade was. Desmond Harrison is the comparison, though. So, Uh-oh. But I think we all thought Desmond Harrison had some serious talent, but there was a work ethic issue with Desmond Harrison.
Right.
I don't think that's not a secret. Like, obviously the guy was not there mentally. He was a work ethic problem. I didn't think he was a nasty finisher, but he was an athlete. He could move in space. The guy was an UDFA starter in week 1 and left tackle. So, like, you know, I get the Desmond Harrison thing does not mean he carries the same baggage as Desmond Harrison.
Right.
Yeah, or the same dime baggage as Desmond Harrison. So, you know, it is what it is there. Pick 152. Who's pick 151?
Larry Borum, the tackle from Missouri. Broncos are on the clock right now.
Okay, we're a pick away. Yeah, man, you only get one draft a year. We should be excited for every damn pick. I'm into it. You got 838 people in here who are excited too, so we're not that crazy apparently.
Man, that is just spectacular. You guys are awesome, man. I can't seriously. Did any of you have the other half of this amulet? Because we were separated at birth. I'm blown away. I'm just blown away by how many people are still with us here.
All right, so the pick is in for Denver. The Browns are on the clock. Let's see.
Come on, that's a pick.
You guys I should just look at the comment section because you guys have inside sources on who they're taking. I really hope they don't waste a pick on the quarterback. I just think it would be an utter waste for this year, just a backup. I just think that would be such a waste with all the talent still on that board. Davion Nixon falling to the 5th round reminds me of Grady Jarrett. Somebody says that's interesting.
I haven't even seen the Broncos pick, let alone the Browns pick yet.
Somebody just said Caden Stearns.
Okay, I can see that.
He's got a good safety athletic profile.
Yeah, inconsistent tape, but an athletic dude. And, you know, NFL coaches always think they can fix everybody. So, yeah, there it is. Caden Stearns. Browns officially on the clock now. Well, I mean, they were, but now it's been updated. Yeah, pretty much any of these guys on the top 10 list. And there's probably another 10. At this point in the draft, you have to widen things. You can do there's so many justifications for so many positions and so many different guys. These are our 10 favorite, or at least among them for us, but there's probably, like I said, easily another 10 guys that we would be happy with. You know, here, let me give this guy. Come on, Trill Williams. Come on, Trill Williams.
This is going to be an unexpected pick, I think. Somebody we've not thought about. I'm refreshing my feed. I'm not getting anything. Someone come through in the comments.
Yeah, I got nothing yet either.
Somebody tip the pick. I'm not going to trade at this point.
Well, somebody offers you next year's 4th for 153.
Yeah.
I have not seen pick is in yet. Clock is winding down, so. And this is the pick, in case anybody missed it earlier, this is the pick they got from Detroit when they traded out of 113. And we're down to a minute and change here. Just about a minute left on the clock. So
you got to wonder if there's discussion going on with some other team or if there is some internal discussion going on. Most of the picks seem to have been in.
Pick is in. So they're not trading it.
Anybody got a tip on this yet? I got nothing. No comment. This is the most quiet it's been. Oh, wow. They're taking Tony Fields? Somebody said they're taking Tony Fields. I haven't seen that.
I haven't seen it either.
They are taking Tony Fields, linebacker from West Virginia.
Okay. This is about the range we had him in. And again, he's not, if that's who they're taking, and it still hasn't been officially announced yet, yes, he has the letters LB next to his name, but he's undersized, he's super fast, he's another space player. He is not a neck roll between the tackles, run plugger, slobber knocker type guy. He's coverage, he's anticipation and bursting into the backfield for a stop. He's small. I think he's 6 foot, just over 200 if I remember right. I'm just saying this off the top of my head here. You go to the beast. Where are we?
Yeah,
185.
Looking him up as well. 14th ranked linebacker, behind Cam McGrone, behind Isaiah McDuffie, but out in front of Buddy Johnson, Dylan Moses, Garrett Wallow. 6 foot 222, so another on the lighter side guy who can run in space. He played 4 years there, 104 tackles, 89 tackles, 94 tackles, 88 tackles. He was in Arizona his first 3 years where he was a freshman All-American.
Tackling
Led the team
machine.
in tackles, 5 sacks. There's West Virginia, first team All Big 12 last year, Big 12 Defensive Newcomer of the Year, led the team in tackles. Fields could too easily get himself engulfed when he isn't a step ahead of the play, but he is an instinctive player with an above-average play speed and a rangy run and hit weak side linebacker in the NFL. He's a 4th or 5th round grade. I'm pretty surprised too they didn't go DB there, but that's they still have a couple picks. They have a pick coming up at 169 as well, so we'll see. Yeah, but I think they're definitely putting their linebacker group on notice, Steve. Like the Malcolm Smith, Sione Takitaki. I know Takitaki's a bigger guy, Sam, but like Mac Wilson, they're all on alert. They're creating serious competition in that room. So they're trying to improve that role. Hey, Bernie. Did you watch much Fields tape?
And they're trying to, not only are they trying to improve it, they're trying to change it. They're trying to alter it. They're trying to modernize it. If, we're reading all this correctly. Because these guys, yes, like I just said, they have those 2 letters next to their name. But think in your head, what's a linebacker? That's not what these 2 guys do. Okay, it's a completely different skill set.
They want guys like Jacob Phillips, who I did not mention. Jacob Phillips is in any trouble. I think he's an intricate part of what they want to do here. They picked him
Absolutely.
last year. He is not on the block. I think he's what they want to do with the position. So, and they like these guys like Tony Fields is going to be a special team guy. Like he is going to be a guy who can play kickoff return, KOR,
right?
Kickoff team, punt team, all of it. He'll do all of it. He runs well. So, I'm not crazy about the pick. I don't have to be crazy about it. I don't know their thought process behind it. I don't know how they have some of the DBs around them graded. I would have probably, in my situation here, gone with one of the Trill Williams, Sean Wades of the world. But, that's stuff we don't know, man. I have no reason to doubt that the guy could contribute. I'm fine with them ultimately, Steve, trying to, with the range they're picking in here, get better second-level players. It's fine with me. They were not good last year at the second level for the most part.
Yeah,
Bernie and Eric Metcalf on the
not probably not the most exciting pick in the world. I have not gone over to Twitter to see how people are reacting. My guess is if they're not particularly
well.
happy. That's just a guess because he's not a well-known name. But this is right about where he's been picked and ranked for months. This is exactly, when I first was alerted to his presence, this is right about where people said he should go, early to middle part of day 3. And if you find the right role for him, guy can move. Guy can put people. He puts the ball carrier on the ground in a very frequent manner.
I am more than fine with the. I mean, like I said, with what they've done so far, it's just kind of gravy. Just give me maybe one more DB in the next 2 picks, and I'm fine with it, man. I think it's quite funny that the Jets picked at the top of round 4 Michael Carter, the running back, and now in the 5th round have taken Michael Carter, the cornerback. So it might cause some confusion. It might turn into a Cameron Jordan phone call, if you recall that story. So, I have no reason to complain about the Tony Fields pick. They're creating competition.
Right.
It's a 5th round pick. I posted today. If you didn't look, I will go through again and talk to you about the guys that the Browns have selected in just the 4th round of the draft. That these are long shot players. These are truly long shot players. Their picks over the last few years in the 4th round. In 2015, Ibrahim Campbell, pick 115. Vince Mail didn't even make the opening roster as a 4th round pick, 123. 2016, you can get guys though. Joe Schobert, 99. Ricardo Lewis, 114. Derek Kindred, 129, who stuck for a while, and Seth DeValve stuck for a while. And if they're not the injuries, he could have been a pretty solid player. Howard Wilson in 2017, who could just never get healthy, pick 126. 2018, Antonio Callaway, pick 105, loaded with talent, but all the off-the-field problems in the world. Sheldrick Redwine, 119, who I think is a fringe roster player this year. Has not really done much in his first 2 NFL seasons. And then I think a guy who's going to be pretty good in Harrison Bryant at pick 115 last year. So you got some good, you got some bad. That's just the 4th round. We could even talk about the 5th round about guys they get in that area. It's just you're taking shots on guys with traits. And he's a guy who can run in space. And if he proves himself to be a guy who can make plays in open space, he can find the football field and he can be a part of special teams. That's what the goal is. So.
Yeah, special. He's got speed enough to be on special teams. He could be part of that churn the bottom of the roster guardrail. And like you said, I mean, you're talking about a 5th round pick. If in your head you're thinking, why did they pick that guy? There's no way he's ever going to be a full-time starter. Well, you're in the 5th round. That's generally not the guy that you're looking for here. And if you have a roster like the Browns do, you shouldn't be looking for a starter at this point. You should be looking for this type of role, this number of snaps. Special teams guys that can step in and do stuff in the lineup on occasion, and maybe you get lucky and he becomes, something more than what you think he is. But yeah, at 153, a guy with that many tackles and that skill set and that kind of speed, yeah, again, I mean, I would have taken Trill Williams or, a few of the guys on that list that we had up before him. But again, I'm not going to be mad at it. And like we said for 3 days now, they have earned the right for us to trust them until they give us reason not to.
Oh, yeah. I'm fine. I have no reason to be upset about it, unless you just like to be mad, I guess. That's your thing. You can be mad. But they have made some home run early picks here to cap off what has been.
Good point there from Ian. Wyatt Teller was a 5th round pick. So
yeah. But you can find them.
It's not the norm is the point. That the year that Wyatt Teller had last year is not what you expect. If you get it, great. But you don't grab a guy in the 5th round thinking he's going to be the highest graded guard in the entire league. That's not what you think.
So Todd McShay says that Tony Fields was Arizona and West Virginia's version of Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. So take that for what it is.
Yeah, go watch this film. I mean, again, like I keep saying, if you don't have access, and there's a lot of people that don't have access to all 22 and that kind of stuff, just go to YouTube. He's got highlight films. Just the highlights are fun to watch. You can get a decent feel for how he moves on the field. And you can't do any in-depth study from broadcast angle and stuff like that, but you can get a feel for how a guy moves and what he's good at and what he's not and that sort of thing. So yeah, if nothing else, go to YouTube and type in Tony Fields, West Virginia, and watch for 2 minutes. He's a fun guy to watch.
Yeah.
Steelers take Isaiah Loudermilk, big defensive tackle, tall defensive tackle from Wisconsin.
That's who Pittsburgh just took?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're 12 picks away from being on the clock again here, guys. And then that'll be it for us here on the broadcast.
Of the guys that we have talked about being available still, you have one player to select out of that list. Steve, who are you taking?
Trill Williams.
I think I would take Jamar Johnson, but I would be okay with Trill Williams too because he tests so insanely well. I will admit, Brad Stainbrook did mention to us yesterday, our Brad Stainbrook of the Rumor Central asked the insider section here at the OBR. Tony Fields is a name to watch at linebacker, he noted yesterday. So, coming to fruition right there.
Yep. More stuff you can only get as a subscriber, which is 50% off.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, this is the time. I don't know about you, Jake, but I always respected, Rich Eisen and back in the day, Chris Berman and all these guys that come on and do 27 hours of television. I have even more respect for them now.
Me too, man. Me too.
Now, granted, they have a team of interns behind them constantly feeding them information and all that kind of stuff.
They're not staying up all night writing and podcasting and all
but
that
still,
stuff.
Just to remain coherent for this long.
There's a bunch of fun names there. Like, I can't believe that's a list of players still available, to be honest. It's kind of guys that, if there's some of those guys get into the UDFA market, man, that's going to be worth a call. There's some fun names that I can't see. If all 10 of these names, if we revisit this tonight, Steve, we go back and the draft concludes and we look at this list, if all 10 of those guys are there, or sorry, if even one of those guys from this list are there, there's something serious that we don't know about.
Right.
There goes Smith Marset to Minnesota.
It was highly unlikely that they were going to double up on wide receiver, but he was, one of my day 3 guys. I really, really like him. I think he's going to be a lot more than he was in college.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jeremy J. signing out. He said, thanks for all we do, and I'm heading out. I don't know. Thanks for joining us.
But yeah, you're right. If any of these guys, even the guys with the injury stuff, I mean, if you get Hamza or Talanoa Hufanga as a UDFA and they, are okay, like it doesn't crop up and keep them off the field, you're getting steals because those guys are athletic as hell.
Yeah, I very much agree.
I'm actually really, really shocked that no one in the NFL has taken a shot at Shaun Wade yet. I'm very surprised.
Me too. I would not mind if the Cleveland Browns were a team that took that swing.
I mean, yes, last year was terrible, but, I think last year proved more than anything that he needs to play on the inside.
Yep.
Yeah, 11 picks to go. I've had a couple people ask me since we're sitting here just waiting at this point. I always do every year. Yes, I will have a way too early 2022 mock-up within the next few days. It depends on when the simulator websites update their boards and put out their boards. Usually it's by tomorrow. So, and it's not in depth. It's not, it's just a quick screenshot and this and that, something to keep track of so that a year from now we can look back and see what changed and why and all that kind of stuff. But it depends on the sites. And then I'm getting my second shot on Monday. So hopefully I'm one of the lucky people that doesn't have a lot of side effects, but I'm assuming that if it's not before Monday, it's going to be at the end of the week because I'll be down and out for a couple of days. So, but yes, I will, because I am not sick. I will have something up hopefully by tomorrow for the 2022 draft.
Man, the grind never stops. I like when you go back a year later and do those. Those are always fun. You know, the perceptions of guys change so much in a year's time.
Right.
Panthers finally took Davian Nixon, so maybe that is the Grady Jarrett falling into the 5th round setup. You know, the next gen stats draft score is pretty solid on him. First team All-American. It's interesting.
He had some really fun tape, man.
He did. I know you and I were having discussions about how like that guy could get into the first round. There's got to be something there that we are not comprehending, or we're not privy to, or
I'm trying to remember. I think I saw something a few weeks ago about off-field stuff, but I could be at this point. I've got so many prospects in my head. I could be misremembering. So if that is not the case, I apologize to Davian Nixon and his family and his mother. But I think that could be playing into it. Whatever that is, I got no specifics. Just the general off-field stuff.
I don't know. 19 tackles for loss, 8.5 sacks, hit an interception. I think that was the Penn State game he had an interception. Tony Fields. He ran a 4.63 to Fields. That's a good number. And honestly, his size is pretty similar to Dion too. 6 foot and some change, 222, 4.63. Dion ran a 4.59. 17 bench press reps for Tony Fields. Rangy athlete with the speed to make plays at either sideline, quick to process and key versus the run. Uses his agility to slither around blocks and find the ball carrier. Relies on timing and physicality. Strike and shed blockers. This is the detail you get from Dane. Flexible hips and lower body to cleanly change directions. Very active in zone coverage, sensing throwing lanes and forcing quarterbacks to go elsewhere. I'm telling you, if you covered up the names, I think this was JOK. It's a very similar read. Quickly established himself as a team leader and tone setter once he arrived at West Virginia. According to coaches, durable, tough, playing through minor injuries and making 45 career starts. Let's check his age. Does he out? No, he's still 21. He's the oldest guy they drafted. He'll turn 22 in June 18th. So the weaknesses of his game: smallish frame, doesn't have prototypical length or growth potential, struggles to leverage gaps versus blocking versus blockers, and can be beaten up near the line of scrimmage. Needs to stay disciplined with his run fits and hold, contain, inconsistent finishing strength and tackling technique isn't perfect. Needs to avoid the mental mistakes, 2 targeting fouls and a horse collar penalty in 2022 and 3 games that were studied. It's tough for him to work off contact mid-pursuit, will occasionally get too relaxed with his coverage reps, finding himself lost in space.
Real quick, by Marlena, thanks for hanging out. She said she's signing out here. So
actually, I think that's not Marlena. It's the husband or the dad or.
Okay. Well, I remember whoever it is on that account. Thanks for joining us. God bless.
I would say that.
Sorry.
But he hangs out with us all the time. That's why I was trying to say it.
Right.
He's a good commenter. We have a lot of people that hang out with us. Like Jason Ferreira tells us every pick in the comments. I love it.
You guys are sick. I love it, man. Sick. You guys are degenerates. So we fit right in. Oh, well, the Ravens are on the clock. So let's try this. Let's see if we can get some bad juju for the Ravens from this. We've been using them for good luck for 3 days.
Marlon,
let's see if...
Keep rubbing that thing, man. Marlena account is Matt. I gotta remember that's Matt because he comments all the time. I'll remember that. Marlena.
Matt, thank you.
Somebody was asking him. Gotta get that right, Steve. Somebody was asking the type of defense the Mountaineers play. They're a 3-3-5 stack team, so they were that's their base. So he played in the functioning roles of the 5 back level players, which could be considered a linebacker. So he was a weak side linebacker during his 3 years at Arizona. One of the most impactful free agent signings in college football last offseason, making all the defensive calls for the Mountaineers. Who'd they take?
Shaun Wade.
Son of a bitch.
So now he's guaranteed to be really good.
I hate how good they are at this. And it's not. I guess it's not that how good they are because they miss. They have their misses, but like they just seem to take everybody that just makes me feel deflated. They just make you feel deflated.
They're just annoying.
They're annoying as hell.
The Bills are on the clock. I don't know if everybody saw it last night, but they took Spencer Brown last night, and to fit right in, he put up I don't know if you've seen the video. It's out there. He put up a card table in his backyard and jumped through it to be part of Bills Mafia. So that was pretty fun. It's fun to watch these kids go out and enjoy their night, man. That's they've earned it. I know the hours they put in to get to this point, and they've earned the right to blow off a little steam and have some fun when they finally reach a goal that 0.00001% of the population gets to sniff. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're into the 160s, guys. Bills are 161, so we're eight picks away from being back on the clock. Anything else you want to pimp here? Since we're going to sign off after that, I think we've done enough advertising for the 50% off. We've told everybody what they get behind the paywall with Lane and Brad and your film rooms and some other things that happen once in a while. There's just a tremendous amount of value there. So, but I don't think we've
sold it. I hope that you
left
guys have
anything
hung out
out
with us. Yeah, if you've hung out with us long enough, I hope you know what we offer by now. So, and we offer, fun draft film or draft content, and if we put up some film every now and again, all that fun stuff. So, just a few more picks and we'll be there. Phone keeps yelling at me.
They just put up, if anybody's watching NFL Network, they just put up Daniel Jeremiah in his jacket next to Miles in his jacket from last night. And I'd have the sound off, but it looked like they were making fun of DJ pretty hard because Miles just looks like in the cartoons where they take an air pump and put it in their mouth and they pump. That's what Miles looked like in that jacket last night. That was just ludicrous.
It was really, that guy's a one-of-one. He is a one-of-one. Okay. Buffalo, 161. I need to follow Draft Diamonds because they seem to have all the picks.
Oh, goodness gracious.
I feel like these last few picks are kind of dragging.
This is the part of especially the TV coverage. They get 4 or 5 picks behind up there in their analysis and their highlights and everything. And they, but again, they've been on the air for, 30 whatever hours. So,
yeah. Yep. Sean Wade. I wonder what the Bills are going to take here.
I've got nothing. I have not seen anything come anywhere.
Come on, Bills. Turn your pick in.
Pick is in, finally. There we go.
Boy, Benjamin Solak is feeling the Browns pick of Tony Fields. All right. He likes it. Cool.
Jimmy Cagey didn't go, right? He's still out there? I don't think he went. Be a good pick here. All of them would.
9 Buckeyes selected, 8 Alabama players selected. Tommy Doyle. They got Tommy Doyle too? Is that what you said?
No, I didn't say that.
Somebody in the comments did. If they got Tommy Doyle and Spencer Brown, man, they took 2. Those are the 2 most athletic RAS scores from the tackle class. I'm pretty sure.
They're up there.
I was blown away by both of those guys' numbers. They're like high 9.6, 9.7. I think Spencer Brown was like a 9.9, like a 10.0, almost a 10.0. So.
Wow, 3 more hours today.
Yeah. It's kind of
And, you know, just because we're not going to be on the air, we're both, I'm sure we're both still going to be, I'm going to be following it.
I might have to sleep soon. I'm about to pass out. Yeah, we do cover this stuff all year, but we get bored / tired in the 5th round. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
They did take Tommy Doyle. But yeah, I'll be around. You guys follow me, hang around on Twitter. I'll be following it there and still tweeting out. And I don't know, they may leave this window open so that you guys can keep chatting. I have no idea what they're going to do with that, but just because we're not live broadcasting, you know, Jake and I video, still going to be following it. I'll be there until Mr. Irrelevant. And then we will, as we do every year, we'll have as much UDFA tracking as we can possibly find for the rest of tonight and tomorrow morning. So.
Oh yeah, it's just getting started. Just getting started.
6'8", 320, Tommy Doyle. It's a big human being.
And he moves well. Moves really well. I know Corey Kennan was in on Tommy Doyle early. He was the first one I saw really posting film of him. So I try to give shout outs to those folks who I remember. Zach Davidson still on the board would be an interesting pick at 169.
Mm-hmm.
Tight end. Trying to think of any other like guys not on our list here.
Quentin Morris, if you're looking at tight end, the guy out of Bowling Green is interesting, has some interesting traits.
Boy, Derek Forrest would be fun here too.
Derek Forrest would be really fun here. There's just the theme of this weekend has been, boy, they have options at this pick.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Every single pick. If he's still there, I'm gonna you know, pound the table for Trill Williams again. That size and athleticism at this point in the 5th round,
crazy.
Even if it doesn't work, well, we got to trade. I don't know who.
Up?
Oh, no, the Chiefs traded up. Okay.
Yeah. Trill would be a good pick for them.
Sure would. He would be oh boy. Learn from the honey badger. He's much bigger than the badger, but they play a similar style.
Mm-hmm. Pick is in.
Porter doesn't like it.
No, he's in the hallway yelling. I don't know what's going on. Cubs probably getting anxious. They said it was only going to be an hour, and we're going to be on 3 hours soon.
He's probably mad that Browns didn't trade up for Trill Williams. I agree with you, Porter. I'm with you, man.
Yeah, that's what he said. This is ridiculous. Trey Sermon went to – where did Trey Sermon go?
No, not Denver. Somebody took him early. Noah Gray, tight end, Duke.
Yeah, he's fine. I like Noah Gray as a late-round tight end.
Who did? Somebody traded up for him. 49ers.
49ers, you know, good call, Travis Hoffman. All right, can we see the KC pick? Let's move it along. Let's get the next pick. See what Washington does.
Yeah, I you know, we could say all the same things we've been saying. These guys.
Do we have any other people that Lane has mentioned as like late round he visited, or anybody else on your list? Because Tony Fields is definitely a visit Cleveland guy.
This is the range we thought Darren Hall was going to go in. And I know he's a visit guy in this range. Derek Forrest. Darius Stills, although they already took Togiai, so I would be shocked if that's the way they go. Let me see if I can go. Let me go pull that up, actually.
Yeah, if the Browns trade back 6 or 7 spots, I can't wait to hear Jake's reaction. Jake will be logging off if that happens. I'm logging off at pick 169. It's not because I don't want to hang out with you guys all day, which we still have 743 people hanging out. I just am running on like 6 hours of sleep in the last 2 days between putting up Newsom's film room in the middle of the night and into the morning, and the same with JOK. You should check those out if you haven't. A lot of work went into those, so check them out if you want to learn about those guys. They're free reads on the website.
Where is it? Here we go. Let's see. Is there anybody left? Nate Hobbs, elite testing numbers, cornerback out of Illinois. Anybody else? Derek Forrestwood, Demetric Felton. Elijah Stove, the kick returner out of Auburn. Daz Newsome.
Daz Newsome. A lot of people like Daz Newsome when they would watch the Diami Brown tape. Yeah.
Sam Cooper, the guy out of Merrimack who we mentioned, but he's probably more of a UDFA interest for them since he's already or shortly will be 24. And then the latest one that I saw, the last visit that I saw, tight end Jack Stoll out of Nebraska. Other than that, everybody that they've visited with has been picked by somebody.
It's getting thin, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's one of those names you just mentioned.
Well, they do things with a purpose. So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll all find out in, 6 picks? Hopefully.
Not soon enough. Killing me.
Question, Chris O'Connor, the receiver from Illinois that jumped out of the room. Josh Emmett or Bebe is who you're thinking of, and he is 23. He's outside the age guardrail. So would they bend it at this point? Maybe, but seems to me to be more, if they're interested in him, it would be more of a UDFA type thing. Say for Michael Strawn, the guy from College of Charleston, 6'5", 225, and ran in the 4.4s. Absolutely fantastic prospect, but he's going to be 24 soon. So again, UDFA, I wouldn't mind bringing him in, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other guys in this range that we haven't talked about ad nauseum. Washington pick is in.
Somebody asked if I like Mac Wilson coming out. I saw the obvious physical limitations, but I was more than willing to give him a chance. He actually had, there goes Derek Forrest to Washington.
Damn it.
I actually thought he had really good coverage production at Alabama. He had a nice feel for it. He was able to handle a lot of their zone coverage responsibilities from their inside linebackers, but it's the lack of athleticism in the NFL. He's just a step behind all the time. I find that Mac is typically in close to the right places. He's just a step behind. So a step, as you know, Steve, a step behind, and you're an out of the NFL before you know it kind of person. So.
Yep. NFL is a matter of inches. Game of inches, and most games turn on 3 to 5 plays. So that one step might turn the play into one of those 3 to 5 plays that turns the game, which turns the season. So, there's no room for error in the NFL. None.
None, though. All right, so we have next on the clock is Denver. Bills are now back-to-back picks with their recent trade. They gave the Texans or something happened there. They go to picks 212 and 213. Has Washington picked a quarterback? I don't think they have they? They're doing the.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Did they pick one of the earlier ones? I can't remember.
I don't think so. Yeah, this is moving much slower than day 3 usually does.
Yeah, I just feel like they're lingering for a while.
All right, so which guy not on our list are they going to take?
That's the ultimate question. Because I thought the last one was going to be a bit of a surprise, and it was. The Ravens picked up their 5th-year option on their quarterback. It's pretty big. Stunning.
Yeah. Well, Larry saying they've only picked one DB, and he's a bit surprised. I consider JOK a safety. So they've added really 2 guys to the coverage unit. But yes, I did. I was on record for months as saying I wanted at least 2 corners out of this draft, and they've only done one of these just yet. So we'll see. But again, as we said, last night or whenever it was, there's a plan. This isn't it. After round 7, they can still make moves. Steven Nelson is still out there. There's a couple other, decent quality level starters still out there in free agency. They could make a trade. They could, maybe they like AJ Green way more than any of us are anticipating. I don't know, maybe. But there's a plan. We don't know the plan. The plan may not actually work out. That you can't predict the future, but there is a plan and a purpose, and they know all this stuff. So,
the fucking Broncos took Jamar Johnson. I feel like the Broncos have taken some pretty sneaky good players lately. I don't have their list up in front of me, but Trill Williams is still sitting there, and I don't know what I'm missing. Something the Browns don't like about him, maybe. I don't know. I also missed the ice cream update. I am starving. I'm going to get something to eat after this.
Yeah, Jared not giving us the ice cream.
All right, so 4 picks in between the Browns pick. It was a pretty big one just sniped in front of our face there. The Texans are pick 174.
Did we share this? I think we shared this last night. And if we didn't, hopefully everyone has seen it by now. It's completely off topic. Somebody just sent it to me. Evan Silva's tweet. Jeremiah on NFL Network says everyone in the league expects Deshaun Watson has played his final snap with the Texans. If you haven't seen that by now, just passing it along. It's from last night. I'm not sure why somebody just shared it with me, but they just did. So I thought I would pass that along.
All right. Don't we all? Hey, John in Lloyd's face. Seth Williams is still out there. It's a good point. It's an interesting player. I just think a pick of a wide receiver right now is a waste. They're not going to have anywhere to put him on the roster, and then he's going to get snatched up by somebody else or something. It's just can't risk it. I don't know. My long shot here is tight end. I don't know that they'll actually go after Zach Davidson, but they could be interested in a tight end of some variety. And then
Justin asks, is not going edge yet indicative of how they view Tack or Weaver long term, or just a matter of opportunity cost? I would say more the latter. But like we just said about AJ Green, we also don't know what they could love Curtis Weaver for all we know. We have no idea.
They could view him
fans.
as their pick, right?
Right.
Like they could view him as their draft pick. So
yeah, for all we know out here as fans, we don't. Well, we've never seen him. They've seen him up close and personal for a year. So I would say more opportunity cost, but it could be so.
Yep, and like you said, it's the Ravens corner Sean Wade after being selected in the 5th round. I know I have first round talent. It's just putting it on the field. Yeah, well, I'm not looking forward to it. But I also wasn't really looking forward to them drafting Amani Hooker, and that didn't really pan out. Mm-hmm. Or did they take Amani Hooker, or did Tennessee?
I thought it was a Colts.
I can't remember. Hold on. They took somebody last year, the Ravens 2020 draft that I really liked in the secondary, and he got cut. Because I clearly know nothing.
All I know is the Steelers took Alex Highsmith from me late in day 2, and it just infuriated me.
Geno Stone, they took in the 7th round. The Iowa safety last year, who I liked. They sniped Justin Matabuke from us last year. Mm-hmm. Browns were definitely into him.
Colts pick is in. So we are now 3 picks away from being on the clock, guys. We're almost there.
Florida safety Sean Davis. We'll run on safeties here. While the TV broadcast talks about Justin Fields.
Let's see, they got the interior defensive lineman. They could go, if you're looking at needs, which they're probably not looking at pick 169, but if you want to put it in that framework, they could definitely go edge. DeMcKay would be an interesting one at this point. They could definitely go with another defensive back. So all those guys we have listed, Trill Williams, of course, my guy. But there's probably a few others that we don't have on that list that we're thinking about. Defense, you can always use more cover guys. You can always use more guys that can rush the passer, which means they'll probably
Keith
fullback
Taylor.
or something.
Yeah, fullback. Panthers are taking Keith Taylor from Washington.
Interesting, dude. Big. Really tall, really long, has some fans in Draft Twitter. If I'm not mistaken, Jeff Risdon is a big fan of his. If I'm misspeaking, Jeff, and you actually see this somehow, I apologize. But yeah, interesting dude. He's got some traits. He's got some fun film, and then he's got some gaps in his film.
Said on Twitter, the Ravens stockpiling wide receivers reminds me of my wife buying shoes during the pandemic. When and where are you planning on using these? In both cases, I think toilet paper would have been the better investment. Yeah, I guess our Darius Washington is still out there too. He would have probably creeped onto our list at some point somewhere.
I just don't know if at 5'8" he meets.
Yeah.
I mean, I like him, and I know he plays bigger than that, and I get that. You know, I know all that stuff. This front office has shown that they have a type. You know,
yeah. Be a fun UDFA to go after.
Sure.
If he doesn't end up ultimately getting picked.
2 picks away. We got to wait for the Raiders to pick, a third-string guard from a college in France. And then we can see what the Vikings do, and then we'll be on the clock.
Sleep has definitely creeped up to my number 1 Browns target. That is correct. Yeah. You
are a warrior, my friend.
Hey, we've had fun. We've gone 3 hours, man. 3 hours today, and 6 the first night and 5.5 last night. I hope we've provided good enough coverage. I think enough people are hanging out that tells us you like hanging out with us. So, yeah, I know you were up early too, man. This thing kicks off at 9:00 your time today.
Yeah, I mean, and I was up late last night too, but not nearly as late as you. I mean, the things I do, they take time, and I try to get them right. But the things you do, like you laid out before, they're so intricate, and there's no shortcuts. There's just no way to shorten the process. It's just get out your hammer and tongs and go through it. So, yeah. Raiders took Nate Hobbs. Damn. All right.
Nate Hobbs sounds like a really good 1942 shortstop who never really got his chance to play at the level he should have.
Lost 3 years of his career to the war, or he'd be in the Hall of Fame. Brooklyn Dodgers. He's definitely Nate Hobbs is definitely a Brooklyn Dodgers name.
Yeah, it is day 3, folks. And it is deep into day 3. I think someone asked me about the cap after the draft. I think they only, between turning over the bottom of the roster for these guys, they don't lose too much cap. I think they'll have. I mean, nobody truly knows the number of the cap these days, but they're okay. They want to go sign somebody. We talked about how they haven't signed a second corner. Maybe they want to go get Steven Nelson or something like that. They could do that if they want, for sure. Right.
Yeah.
So, just because they don't pick a position, I made this note. I tried to make this note. Is like they're not done. This is not their final roster. They'll add somebody somewhere that they feel needs it, and they have the money to do it. So the best outcome for us would be Trill Williams at this pick. It seems like it's going to be a player they could take. I would be fine with Thomas Graham, Hufanga, be more than fine with him. Do McKagey because I think it's an interesting spot to grab somebody, and that's our list that's in front of us. The Vikings took Davidson the pick before the Browns.
Wow.
What a good pick for that offense. I like that
pick. It is. He's good. Yeah, I mean, he's fun anyway. He's interesting. This is, we've said this quite a bit. This is higher than he was on all the boards. He was 7th round. I was consistently able to get him with that pick 257 across all of the simulators. So again, another example of the lack of information this year to the public being, 50, 70, 80 picks of difference. Like we said, for weeks, we've been expecting guys to be off by 50, 60, 70 picks from the media boards. So, all right, let's do it. Let's go Trill.
Flying off the board these days.
Let's make us smart. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right, somebody gets it. Let us know in the comments. You guys have been pretty good about being out in front of this whole thing. I don't see anything specific right now.
Yeah, I got nothing. Nobody's leaking. I can't believe there's not a vibrant underground revenue market for tipping picks in the 160s.
Like there is for college, all 22.
Uh-huh.
Same thing.
Oh, man. Come on. Make us happy.
Cleveland Browns have traded to pick 240 in the 2030 draft. Man, that'd be really cool if they took Trill Williams here, just for the sake of like
Trill? They're saying Trill in the comments. Are you kidding me?
Did they draft Trill for real? Because that would be crazy into this whole thing.
Oh, tell me that's real. Tell me that's real.
Somebody trolling us by saying Trill. I haven't seen anything yet. I
still haven't seen anything yet either.
I wouldn't get too excited. Draft Diamond seems to be taking a break.
What a loser. Who takes breaks?
Someone's saying Trill is the pick. Who's
Pick is
saying
in.
that? Where are you finding that Trill is the pick? Because that's an unbelievable. Okay, Richie LeCount. That didn't take who Trill then. Who's lying? Damn you liars. They were trying to play with our emotions.
Sons of bitches. Well, I still haven't seen it announced, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have liked Trill there. So Georgia safety Richard LeCount is the pick.
Yeah. I trust him. I trust him more than I trust me, but yeah.
He's the oldest one they've taken. That's actually that's the biggest part of this news, in my opinion, is that LeCount is currently 22 years old and is set to turn 23 in September. So now we have a new minimum, which is that September birthday to turn 23 in your rookie season. So it's late, but whatever. You know, he's a team captain in 2020, missed the final 5 games due to non-football injuries, it says. 5-star recruit out of high school, number 2 safety behind Jacoby Stevens in the 2017 class. He competes with an outstanding play, speed, and energy, but you have to live with the inconsistencies. This tape gives off vibes of an undersized version of Marquise Blair. 4.76 40-yard dash, which is not strong. 32.5 box of 10.8 broad. I don't know. I would have preferred Trill, but, you know, these guys do it. Maybe they know something we don't hear. I don't know. Maybe he plays bad. I got to watch him.
Maybe he'll still be there at 211. I don't know. But we're not going to be here at 211.
We are not. We're going to run. This was a blast. This is a lot of fun. It turned into something we didn't think it would be. There are 840 of you still here. So I had fun. I know you did, Steve, and we had so much insight for everybody to process about all these picks. So I hope you guys learned something. I hope you like the Browns spin on this thing and have enjoyed it. We will have discussions. Steve and I will be on Twitter. You can talk to us about pick 211, and we'll talk about the class collectively. Steve and I might try to touch base and have a full comprehensive discussion about their whole thing at some point, either tonight or tomorrow on the podcast, probably tonight. We'll see how we both sleep, and I haven't even asked Steve to do it, so I'm telling you he's going to do it, which is, he's got that look on his face like, I'm not talking to that bastard. This is fun. I'm going to go. My wife's going to kill me. We've given you guys some great coverage, and I hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions about the OBR subscriptions, things like that, connect with us, any of that, please let us know. Hit us up on Twitter. Appreciate you guys.
Ian. Thanks, Seth. Thanks, Barry. Thanks, Lane. Thanks, Fred. Thanks to everybody, and thanks to you guys for hanging out with us for 3 days. If not, it would just be Jake and I talking to each other, which we've done, but this was more fun. So I think they got significantly better this weekend. Even if you didn't like every pick, that's the biggest thing to take away. We got the right guys in place. They're making great moves, and the team is better than it was 72 hours ago. Go Browns, man.
Hell yeah. Go Browns, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.